I lived there a number of years in the mid '90s, mid to late, actually to late '90s.
What a
Yeah.
great era.
Oh, I was there. I was there for. Yeah, I definitely feel like the shit I saw and was a part of in London is definitely one of those eras where it's like there's the Max's Kansas City, the sort of
Yeah,
Woodstock to LA in like 66, 67.
sure.
All those things, sort of London at a certain time in the 70s, but like I was there when Britpop, jungle, drum and bass, and trip hop all happened in real time, and I was in those worlds,
Yeah,
like with the people, and so
sure.
like really in the room for like some crazy fucking English shit,
I can
like,
imagine.
and I lived above a pub in Camden,
Oh my
like
God.
like
In
the whole
Camden too. Like it not, yeah.
during the
Yeah.
Britpop battles, it was epic.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you must one of the things I love so much about London is you go there and there's some stuff that's like the Rainbow's still here. The Roxy's still here, but I never went there because I
Right.
was like, it's not the same place.
I had lunch at the Rainbow last
Oh,
week.
I know the
Yeah.
Rainbow's cool,
Yeah.
but the Roxy I've just always driven past and gone, I know it's not the same, so I don't know if I want to go in.
So it's great because they partnered with Golden Voice and Golden Voice books it. So the Roxy has been really amazing for a number of
Oh,
years,
okay.
and it kind of still feels special and legendary. I've
I
been to
should
some
have
great
gone.
shows, and I've gone and I've played a lot of great shows there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the guest for this episode is Justin Warfield from Warfield. And tell us a couple of the other your projects because
Okay.
you've done so many.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She Wants Revenge.
Somebody followed me on Instagram today, and their handle was musically promiscuous, and I was like,
That's good.
relatable.
Yeah, that's my
Um,
orientation. Thank you.
so Warfield is my current solo project, and what I'm releasing music and touring under now. I co-founded She Wants Revenge with Adam Braven in 2004, and first came out in 2005. So
Hmm.
crazy 20-year anniversary on that. I've done a number of projects over the years. I just don't usually like to do it under my own name. So I had a band called Dream Club. I had a band called Forever Never Changes, and they're all just versions of me making records with friends.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good way to be, though. I mean,
it's a good way to be.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who do that well. Damon Albarn does that well.
Hmm.
Gorillas, a lot of different projects, obviously. Blur. I also recorded with a group called Bomb the Bass, and I had a band called Ince Punch. We were just talking about London, where I was
Yeah,
based in London from 96 to about 90, yeah, 96 through about 99 on and off.
yeah. A great era.
So, yeah, a lot of projects. And
Yeah.
then also, like, the only things I've ever done under my own name were hip hop records
Hmm.
and a one-off song I recorded for Sons of Anarchy. That
Oh,
I didn't
cool.
have a project name, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll use this. Yeah.
Is that what's prompted the now using Warfield as the project name?
I just like I just felt like it was like a name that I was going to use a couple years ago. And I made a solo record during the pandemic, and I came up with like 4 or 5 band names, and a couple of friends were just like, just use your name. And I'm like, I don't really want to. And then I think 2 people said to me, you should just do Warfield.
Hmm.
Like Morrissey doesn't go out there as Stephen Morrissey, he goes out as Morrissey.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like, okay, that's cool. And so I was going to do that. And then over time, that record got shelved because I got back on the road with She Wants Revenge.
Hmm.
So I ended up calling that band Forever Never Changes, which was the name of the album.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
it's all whatever. It's all
Yeah.
just like me in a room alone or me in a room with friends making music,
It's kind of
right?
like Bobby O. You got, what Waterfront Home and I mean the Flirts. He had
Wait, who's Bobby O?
Bobby O is the guy who discovered Pet Shop Boys, or rather, they came to visit him, and
Okay.
or the singer, what Neil Tennant,
Yeah.
right? He was a big fan of Bobby O's records. He did a lot of the High Energy and the Divine records,
Okay.
the early ones, and it's weird because he made so much gay music, but he's like a fanatical right wing hardcore Christian.
Jeez.
He's bizarre. I've been
Whoa.
trying to track him down to talk to him, but you can't. Like, there's no
Yeah,
way
yeah,
in.
yeah.
But he had his own record company, and one month he put out a record every day. I mean, he would rip off Blue Monday. He did tons of rip offs, but all of these bands, in quotes, were just
Oh, just
different.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe with a different singer. The Flirts had like 3 different sets of singers, and then the touring singers, that kind of
Wow.
thing. Yeah, a lot of great stuff though. A lot
Yeah.
of great stuff. I'll send you one of my favorites of
Yeah,
his.
please do.
Yeah, and I was thinking we're kind of doing a movie club, but I think also mixing in personal stuff is good too because the movies relate to our lives in such a
So
big
much
way.
so.
And we were talking about Body Double.
Right. I mean, it's just weird. Like walking in here, I immediately was just taken by so many things that I have a personal connection to. But yes, Body Double.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess I would say I'm a De Palma person,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean the truth is I'm a Body Double and a Blowout person,
Yeah,
right? And like Body
right.
Double was a movie that I saw at a very young age, and there's so many iconic, striking parts, whether it be,
Mm,
the mask, the drill, whether it be the house,
mm.
whether it be Frankie Goes to Hollywood, just having a music video in the middle of a porn shoot with Holly Body, like
Yeah.
but like that movie left an indelible mark on me. But a few years prior to that, as a very young person, seeing Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club
Yes.
Band was really special. I mean, think about it, like to me, like when you see like Alice Cooper section,
Yeah.
like it's kind of like the birthplace of everything Marilyn Manson did
Yeah.
from
Yes.
like
It
1995
really
on,
is.
right?
Yeah.
It really
It
is.
really is.
If
The
you
the
just
way he's like goes, what a sweetie and all
all of
that.
it,
Yeah,
the
the whole thing.
song, the look, the
Mm-hmm.
visuals. I mean, think about how amazing that movie was, just in the sort of trippy, like the psychedelic imagery, everything, just things now that would not be done optically or with great
Yeah.
title work, but would be AI or CGI. And
Yeah.
it's an incredible movie. I
It
mean,
is.
and I don't, and like, as you said, unironically.
Completely unironically, I
Yeah.
kind of refused to see Julie Taymor's Across the Universe because the reviews were so glowing, and I thought, okay, I think y'all don't understand how great Sergeant Pepper is, and this looks way too earnest,
Yeah.
and I don't want anything to do with it.
No, I mean, I want like, Billy Preston, like turning
Yeah.
back time. And I want like,
Aerosmith bested by Peter Frampton and the Bee Gees. Do you know that story that Aerosmith was supposed to, I think, get like either, I think the whole band or something. They made it stink. They were like, we're not gonna all get beat up by those guys, so she has to kill Steven.
wow. Of course, I mean, it sort of tracks. I mean, they were probably the most cred people in that, like as far
Yeah.
as sort of street cred.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
who I love? I'm such a huge fan of Paul Nicholas, who plays Billy Shears,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he's in Tommy as cousin Kevin.
Okay, so I have Tommy's a big blind spot for me.
Oh, okay. I think you dig it.
I've never seen Tommy, and I do dig the Who, but
Hmm.
that's not really my record or era.
Well, it's interesting because the soundtrack,
Mhm.
it's totally different. It almost feels like the original record is a demo in a way.
Interesting.
Pete had tons of synthesizer on it. Keith is maybe on one track or
Mm.
two, but he was sort of like doing his LA thing, meaning
Right.
drinking and drugs. So there's a few different people on drums, but it's great and it's nuts because it
Yeah.
was, I think, not the advent of synthesizers, but Pete was really, really going for it. And also Tina Turner and Margaret sing, Oliver Reed singing.
Wow.
And
That's
Jack Nicholson,
crazy.
yeah, singing.
That's amazing. I didn't realize that. I mean, look, like Pete was definitely, oh, I see Jack on the poster there. I wasn't aware of that. So like the thing is for me is like Pete was definitely early on the synth, just like,
Mm.
like McCartney was, and that's just such a great era. But yeah, the dude who played Billy Shears is great.
He's so
He's
good.
really good in the movie.
Yeah, when he does the "You Never Give Me Your Money,"
Yeah.
it's so great. He's got this thing to him, and when I
Oh,
was,
he's got real swagger, and he's just such a hustler in the movie.
yes, he
He plays
is
such like a total Lothario and just like hustler.
totally like not sleazy, just on the other side of the fence from sleazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about him, but as a kid, I was obsessed with Tommy and Sergeant Pepper, and I remember
Right.
thinking, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
And bless the internet because now I know that he's like everyone in England knows who he is.
Oh,
He's been
interesting.
on soap operas. He's been on light television. He had his own series. Like one of those guys. Over here, no one. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting the way that sort of like cult things sometimes intersect with mainstream. There's this incredible artist musician, Petra Hayden. She's a great
Mm,
singer and part of the Hayden triplets,
yeah.
and she's very, very, very obsessed with Columbo.
Oh, wow.
And we both share this obsession.
I do too, by the way.
And we
Yeah.
spend a lot of time talking in the DMs about Columbo.
Mm-hmm.
And so she also does these incredible things, which you should check out, which is she'll do a cappella records where she'll do a Led Zeppelin classic, but she does them all a cappella. So
Mm-hmm.
every instrument, every background vocal, every percussive thing is all voice. And she
Yeah.
does all these voice recordings, and they're unbelievable. But she posted one today, and I was like, why does that woman look so familiar? I'm like, I love her. And she's like, well, she was on Webster. And then I was like, wait a minute, like, that's crazy,
Mm-hmm.
because I went and saw Night Moves the other night
Oh,
at
I
the
need to
American
see that.
Cinematheque, and she's the wife.
Oh, wow. Isn't that wild when there's like someone pops up a bunch and it's someone that was on Webster and you're like,
Yeah,
what?
but like
Yeah.
she was like, oh, she's on Webster, and I'm like, oh no, that's the wife in Night Moves, like that super like moody piece from the 70s with
Yeah.
Hackman, you know.
Is that your favorite era for film? 70s into 80s?
Yeah, for sure. I
Same
mean,
here.
I'm turning 52, and so like 1980, I was 7 years old. So I do have memories of the 70s in real time,
Mm-hmm.
rerun 70s television.
Oh, same here for sure. Yeah.
Um, I saw a lot of films early because
Mm-hmm.
like where I lived in the valley, we didn't have cable. My area didn't have Z Channel like the Hollywood
Mm.
Hills. There was two things you could have for watching films, and one was called On TV, the other was called Select TV.
Mm-hmm.
And we had On TV, and it was basically a set guide that you would get in the mail, like a TV guide, but it would just be running shows all the time. And then HBO was like an add-on for that. And so I remember seeing a lot of movies like that, but my real introduction to cinemas, I mean, my mom was like a definite cinephile who's like turned me on to like, Mike Nichols and
Mm.
Woody Allen and Hal Ashby and all that when I was really, really young. And she had pretty progressive and sometimes transgressive taste and cool stuff. But my grandfather, her dad, was in the pornography industry,
Oh, wow.
and he didn't make them, but he distributed them. And so he also like stocked all the sex shops in LA and all that.
Yeah.
But because he was in the pornography industry, he had VHS before anybody commercial, like consumer wise.
Yeah.
So we had the first beta, the first VHS, and so I used to get like serious bootleg versions of everything that was out in the theaters
Yeah.
from just his network of just underworld people.
Gray market.
Totally. But like
yeah.
real sketch and no artwork, just like hand labeled
Yeah.
VHS tapes. And so I would screen them in my bedroom for the neighborhood kids. And like I remember my mom was like, you can't charge for that. Like like if you're gonna do this, you
Yeah.
have to just, and
So
it's,
always an enterprising lad is.
I guess it made sense. It was like
Yeah.
we're watching like Moonraker or like,
Right.
Star Wars or whatever.
$7 or no, it was like $3 or do you want
No,
to pay?
I mean, I was probably like, give me 50 cents. Like,
No, that's
to
what I
like,
mean. Like at the theater, you're gonna be out what, $3 and
Yeah,
the popcorn. You
right.
come over, I'll give you chips, 50 cents.
And so I had great proximity to, and then I had, family and friends who were involved in films, so around different film sets and grew up with it. But, music was not my first love. Film was, and that
Mhm.
was always what I wanted to do, was to write and direct. It was always like, I want to make films like, Carnal Knowledge, or I want to make
Mhm.
films like Annie Hall, and then it became, I want to make films like Harold and Maude. And then as the 90s happened, so yes, answer, long-winded way of saying 70s and 80s
That's what a
media.
podcast is. Long-winded ways of
Yeah.
saying things.
Exactly. 70s and 80s media had a huge impact on me. And
Yeah.
so because I'm seeing things early because of having a VHS,
Yeah.
because my closest friends who lived next door were 13 years my senior,
Oh, cool.
I was hanging out with the older kids who would turn me on to stuff. And
Mhm.
sometimes that was the Pretenders or the B-52s. And sometimes it was movies. And,
Mhm.
and they were of the generation really of Phantom of the Paradise, Over the Edge.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
were, because, now they're 60
Sure.
or, older,
Yeah.
and they're like, they were really those kids.
Mhm.
Right. And those are their movies. So mine, like, I'm in a weird space as a Gen Xer, and I sometimes say this to people who are like 5 years my senior, where I'm like, like you didn't see The Lost Boys 3 times like in the first week it opened at the Cineplex Odeon before it was, City Walk.
Yeah.
I did. But
Yeah.
if you did see it, you would identify with Jason Patrick where I identified with Corey Haim. And
Right.
that's the difference between a Gen Xer who's 50 or 52 and who's 57, 58, 59,
Oh, yeah.
60.
My brother's 8 years older, so there's an interesting thing. But I also benefited so much from that
Completely.
because of music. That's how I discovered Rush. And I don't know if you saw, there's a Rush 2112 mirror or whatever up on the top shelf of the bar.
Oh, nice.
You know what's sad? I once had my hands on a Times Square mirror, but I gave it to someone. Years later, I was like, "Can I buy that back? I don't. Do you have it up? If you have it up," and he's
They
like,
got rid of it.
well, he's like, "No, it fell and shattered." And I was like, "Oh."
Times Square is one that I know that a lot of people that I who have exceptional taste really love. Same as the Fabulous Stains.
Oh, I love
Both were
that.
not in my vocabulary
Sure.
until much later, like mid 2000s or something.
Well, the Stains, I just happened upon it on the old A&E channel, the old version, and I turned it on and I saw some of the Sex Pistols and a guy from the Clash. I was like, what's this? Because I was obsessed with that stuff then in like 7th grade or something. And I actually got obsessed with the Sex Pistols from a picture of them in a Rolling Stone sort of compendium of articles. Because I got that. I started reading Rolling Stone when I was like 8 or something, because I was into Sting, and then that led, and Bowie. So that led me through a whole cavalcade of stuff. And I used to learn so much from that. It was a different magazine back then. It was the Bible for everything music.
Yeah.
Really. Their top 100 list kind of meant something then, because you go, oh, what's that? I should check that out. Well, they like the Bob Dylan record I like, so maybe they'll like this.
And where were you living?
Massachusetts.
Where?
Sudbury.
Okay.
Yeah. And my folks kind of bought there when it was kind of semi-rural. And I was born in Dorchester, but then
Dorchester.
Yeah, Dorchester. Yeah, and it was going through a transitional period. Very difficult.
Yeah.
Some junkies almost burnt the place down that they owned and stuff, and they were like, I think we got to get out of here.
Right.
But my brother also worked at a video store.
Oh, see, that's very hip.
Yeah, right. And then one of those places where they never got rid of anything. And as you know, in the 80s, they just bought anything. They had no compunction. They were like, well, that'll rent, right? Like Let It Be was on the shelf. And they had the beta version too.
Wow.
So everything. I would ask him can you bring this home, bring that home? That's how I saw Tommy.
Yeah.
Sergeant Pepper, actually, I saw on the local UHF station. And I was aware of it because I asked my parents for Sergeant Pepper, probably through the influence of Rolling Stone, and they bought the wrong album. They got it at the discount shop, and they didn't know it was the wrong album. But I love
the soundtrack.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it is, and I already loved the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
So
the Bee Gees are so important.
For me, absolutely, they're so great. All the eras are great.
Like, it's so upsetting, like when someone can be reduced to like a joke or a meme and like they're really so talented. Like I think that they started to like get their flowers when the doc came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
But like to me, like Saturday Night Fever is such an important moment.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's interesting looking at that stuff. Also, like, because like now we have the awareness through documentaries or journalism and sort of retrospective to see like the anti-disco backlash, really the racism and the homophobia behind it, right? But at the time, like, to me, disco was incredible. I grew up loving Donna Summer and loving Giorgio Moroder and the Bee Gees and all that. But going back to what you were saying about VHS and video stores, the reason why my grandfather working in the porn and adult industry was helpful for me as a cinephile is that he would give
cinemaphile. Yeah, that's good. You a cinemaphile or something?
He was a cinemaphile. As a cinemaphile, the reason why it was like so important was he would give me a stack of X-rated films.
Yeah.
New in the box, unopened.
The big box too, right?
Big box.
Cardboard sleeve and then inside clamshell.
Yeah, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he would give me a stack of them, and he said, I want you to go to your video store, go up to the counter, ask for the manager, tell them your grandfather works at the company, blah, 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 slide them and say, I would like to sell them to you in exchange for store credit.
That's amazing.
And so I never paid for video rentals because I would go in with like 10 titles.
Yeah.
They would buy them for like $40, $50 each.
Right. Yeah.
And like if you're 11, 12 years old, right? Like, you know, maybe 13 max, but that's pretty fucking young to be walking in there with like hardcore porn. And like, you know, this wasn't like random, like, you know, it's very Boogie Nights adjacent because like this was like at the peak of VHS,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where it was like peak video and stars, not like amateurs. So like,
Yeah.
like the directors were friends with my grandpa. So I'd go in there with these titles, I would hand them to him, and they'd be like, cool, you have $300 of store credit.
Oh my God.
And so when you like, how long does it take you to use that? And then
Yeah.
when it was up, I would bring in more. And
Yeah.
I ran that at 2 different video stores when I would live in different places. And so like, that was how I saw a lot of movies. And that's how I'd get great films. I'd get B movies, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I learned about, you know, sort of like the lowbrow stuff, the highbrow stuff, all of it.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a great Brian Ferry quote where he said, I love the lowbrow and the highbrow. It's all the stuff in the middle I can't have any time for.
That's really good.
Isn't that good?
Well,
I feel like
pretty true.
It really true. I mean, that sums it all up for me because
it's a lot of mediocre in the middle, right?
a lot of mediocre.
That doesn't know it is, but like
yeah.
when somebody like sort of, it's the same thing. I was having a conversation the other day with somebody with this dude, and we were coming back from band practice or going to band practice, and he was saying how he doesn't like Queen. And I'm like, well, I fucking hate Queen. And I was like, the last thing I liked of Queen was when I was, you know, when the game came out when I was like 10. He's like, yeah, Dragon Attack. I'm like, yeah, in real time. I hate Queen. I said, I don't like theatrical music unless it's like overachieving. Like, I like the idea that, like, if you put a couple of kids that were like a punk rock band and you said making a rock opera, I'm in.
Yeah.
Because they're stretching beyond their limits and their means to create something special.
Yeah.
But when it's too polished, when it's too much, it's like, then it's like this, like the music equivalent of La La Land. Like, I don't want to see that. I want to see, you know, the Amos Poe version of that. Like, not like, you know what I mean?
Like some kind of a conceptual ambition that might be rough hewn, but like they're committed to it. They're obsessed with it.
Yeah. Liquid Sky. Like,
oh yes.
Yeah. like that, like I want the Repo Man. Like I want to see Repo Man. I want the Alex Cox version of sci-fi.
Yes.
You know, I want Night of the Comet. I don't want some other, like, I don't want you to do the Michael Bay version.
No.
Like I'm not interested in
Night of the Comet and Repo Man, there's this atmosphere to it. Now, granted, there's the LA thing and you know, the actual landmarks that are in it, but there's just a vibe. And
there's a punk ethos to it.
Yes,
and
exactly.
It's a new wave punk ethos. It's and I don't mean punk as in like Mohican and 77. I mean like, you know, those are 2 massive movies for me, and I can't take away the fact that it's Los Angeles. I can't take away the music. But there's a feeling. And sometimes like, and here's the thing, my favorite movies are ones with that atmosphere you speak of. So, for example, Submarine, British film of like, you know, the late aughts, like 20-somethings, whatever you call it, is not trying to be The Graduate. It's not trying to be Rushmore.
Yeah.
But there is something in the coming of age of it that feels very out of time and special. A movie like Sebastian Cole.
Okay.
The Adrian Greer film.
I know I haven't
Adrian
seen that.
Grenier.
I got to see that.
Okay.
Isn't Brian Ferry in that?
I don't know.
I think he's in it. He has some cameo or something.
It could be. But like, I remember watching cable one night, late at night. I'm in my like late 20s. And here's this guy who I thought was amazing long before Entourage, Adrian Grenier, and he's wearing a cut-off Suicide shirt of the record cover.
Yeah.
First record. And he's on his bicycle riding through the high school to Blank Generation.
Oh, wow.
And like, I just got goosebumps because that is a cinematic, like that is the freedom in that shot of, you know, I was screaming, let me out of here before I was even born. It's such a gamble when you go to face. And he's riding his bicycle. He's wearing a Suicide shirt. And like, someone fucking shot that and made that. And like, and it's an incredible coming of age story. And it's very like, you know, River's Edge. Like,
oh my
if
God.
you take away the darkness and the misogyny and the violence, because underneath it, there's a tone and a feeling.
Yes.
It's the reason why no one can ever do anything that feels like Twin Peaks, because, you know, you have Lynch and very, very underappreciated Mark Frost, because
Mm.
Storyville is a movie
Oh, I
that
love that movie.
it's great.
Yeah.
And it
it's
has that
totally
New
unique.
Orleans sort
Yeah.
of like, when movies have that thing, we were just talking about Slam Dance, it has that thing.
That's got that distillation of LA stuff, not just the glass bricks, but it's so
Glass bricks
specific.
are huge. They're making a comeback. I just read an article.
Real? Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
happy about that. I love those.
I
Yeah.
really want glass bricks in my world. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
But what do you think that thing? Okay, so like, there's music,
Yeah.
there's locale,
Yeah.
there's, I guess it has to be production design and cinematography. Brick had it.
Okay, I haven't seen Brick.
You've never seen Brick?
No.
Brick is such a game changer of a film.
This is great. I'm getting a whole list of stuff that I can dive into.
Spencer, who I met you through, Spencer Rollins, great filmmaker, also plays music with me in a number of bands. We're getting matching Brick tattoos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, Brick is amazing. Ryan Johnson's first movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if you set like The Long Goodbye at a high school in San Clemente.
Oh, well, sign me up. That sounds
great. The entire film is on the cool spectrum of like lighting.
Oh, okay.
And so it has this weird mood and this sort of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a noir film set in high school.
Well, that sounds great. Everything about that.
And he invented a language for it.
What?
So like, in the same way that John Hughes used to create slang so that it wasn't dated.
Like bohunk or something like that?
Yeah, which just meant Guido.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
so when he says, she's marrying an oily bohunk, she meant an Italian Guido.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to be, well, he didn't have a problem being racist.
No,
clearly,
not at all.
Or sexist or, really deeply problematic.
It's like
but
Neil Simon with that. He's like, can I get to put some of this in there?
Yeah. So he created, he created all that stuff, all that language. His idea was, if I put music in it that I hear it wax tracks and the hippest music, but I don't use slang that's now, it won't be dated.
Okay. Well, and again, he has a very specific tone in all the movies.
All of it.
And I think, because we were sort of getting to what's that other piece? What
is the other piece? You tell me.
I think it really is. And it's such a mercurial kind of, what's the word? I'm trying to think of like it's in the air somehow, but it's due to the aesthetic and presence of the writer-director. And I don't know if all of them are the writer-director, like if they're doing both things, and sometimes it's a producer, but like De Palma always has this specific kind of vibe to his stuff.
Totally.
Right? And Friedkin, again, one of my favorites, and then Altman is the one I was thinking of when I can't remember which film sparked that. Oh, you said Long Goodbye. That movie has such a specific vibe, but then you see Gosford Park, and somehow it's still that Robert Altman vibe.
So it's interesting that you named those three: the Friedkin, the De Palma, and the Altman, because to me, I don't think that those directors of those films have the thing we're talking about. I think it's more specific.
Oh, that specific feeling. You sure? I'm just using.
Yeah,
like,
no. People that have their
like,
own voice and their own thing. Of course, you know when you're in a Martin Scorsese movie, you know when you're these. But like the thing that we're talking about,
right?
I feel like part of it is almost. In retrospect, we know it's a cult film, but when it's happening in real time, I think that there is something that makes it a cult film.
Yes.
And I'm not articulating it, but there is an indie nature and a DIY nature to it, but there's also a feeling, like people say a lot of times now, hangout movies, but there's some movies that just, it's a world and world building that you get in, and it's sort of cozy, like, and it feels a certain kind of way.
And it has a specific, almost like Origins in 1984, 85, something like that. I mean, these films that we're talking about, right? And it's very specific. Like Repo Man is the best example of that. But Night of the Comet, again, has that thing. And what is that thing?
What year is To Live and Die in L.A.?
85. 40th anniversary this year.
Right. So, like, I think that one of the things that's interesting, maybe we're getting closer to it, is the city's a character.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that could be for any number of things. Like the movie Submarine I'm talking about, this town in England is a character.
Yeah.
And the dreariness of it and the wish to sort of escape and find something greater.
Mm-hmm.
In Brick, it's very much like it looks like Santa Barbara but it's San Clemente,
Okay,
where
yeah.
he's from. And it
Yeah.
has this very, very sort of small town thing, because a lot of great horror movies have that, right? When you're
yeah.
set in like, where does it take place?
Yeah.
Is it Salem, right? Like,
right.
is it West Texas?
Yeah.
Like,
Bakersfield,
and I think
maybe. Yeah, that kind of thing.
and so maybe it's not just that they're LA, but like that it's so indicative of that, and it's iconic imagery and shots, right?
Yeah, and also that orange thing with that. I saw some TikTok where a
Totally.
guy was talking about the old sodium lights that used to be on the streets of LA. Now, of course, I wasn't there then,
Right.
but then he was talking about they put all these bright white lights in and sort of destroyed that. But now those lights are kind of defective, so they're turning purple in many places.
Oh, interesting. Giving like sort of a new look.
Yeah, exactly, like a much more trying to think, almost liquid sky kind of look.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting one for a corollary, because that's New York,
Right.
but it has that thing going on.
Same as Brother from Another Planet, the John Sayles. It
That's
has
one
another.
I've never seen. It's always been on my list. I remember the Green Key video box that I almost rented 100 times.
It's great. I saw it on TV when I was really young, right around that window of seeing She's Gotta Have It, and seeing and learning about Hal Hartley and Whit Stillman, and sort of that 90s moment when it really, to me, was the next great moment in sort of cinema.
Yeah, and I was just thinking when you said She's Gotta Have It, again, Rolling Stone and Siskel and Ebert. So I found out about that when it was first on tape. And like, what an incredible resource. Sometimes I go, how did I know about that thing before that? I mean, my brother sometimes too, but often I was like, can you get... He'd be like, what's that? I'm just, can you get that?
Just order it. Just get it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about Straight to Hell because I had Alex Cox on.
That's amazing.
Oh my God, it was so incredible.
Wow.
It was such an incredible thing to have. And he's great. I mean, he's so great.
Yeah.
But Straight to Hell, I remember thinking, how did I know that was out? I must have read some negative review in Rolling Stone or something.
Like that is so outside, like especially in Massachusetts. Like for me, I'm like, those people were around. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like Dick Rude and Cy Richardson, and like I've seen them. You know, I mean, I'm friendly with Dick, but like Cy, I would see around, and you know, to me, I will go to my grave saying two things. One is that the suitcase in Pulp Fiction is the trunk of the Chevy Malibu.
Even though people say "Kiss Me Deadly," no,
it's the trunk.
It's the trunk. Yeah,
just as Jules is Cy Richardson's character in Repo Man.
Also, the ties. There's a Straight to Hell vibe in the in Reservoir Dogs and
by the way, like this is what makes for great art.
Yeah,
is going, like, well, I'm interested in Hong Kong action, and I'm interested in blaxploitation, but wow, Alex Cox is one of the, even though he's a British filmmaker, sort of making American films,
well,
like
he really did, didn't he?
He really made American films.
Yeah, like Walker.
Like distinctly American films, and with very American crew and cast, and and like, by the way, with like some of the best DPs in the world, like
Robbie Mueller. I mean,
like German, but yes, one of the best.
But still, like, he contributed to that
of course.
vibe. Like some of his shots, you go, how did he even shoot that? Where's the light? It's Paris, Texas. You know, I mean, that's not exactly in the category, but like, To Live and Die in L.A. and he has a way of capturing the light, the atmosphere.
It's pretty amazing, but and also so.
Oh, by the way, I got Alex to tape a phone interview about Robbie for the To Live and Die in L.A. movie club. That it's going to be this, and it's going to be massively long.
Oh my God!
Because I got all these Friedkin clips talking about like how the I'm blanking on her name, which is insane because I'm obsessed with that movie. What's her name? Not Deborah Feuer, but okay, Darlene Flugel and William Peterson's sex scene. He was like, they kind of had a thing going, And then he pauses. He goes, I think they fucked. I think he fucked her. So just tons of bits and bobs like that. Plus Alex talking about Robbie Mueller, because who better? And I want to get in. I think Tom Richmond is the second.
That's crazy.
Second unit, isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
And in the behind the scenes thing, you see all these bits of behind the scenes footage, but in all different parts of the movie, and I go, they shot this whole fucking thing, didn't they?
Right.
So I want to talk to him
That's
about
amazing.
that. I haven't gotten in touch yet, but
Yeah.
anyway. But you were saying like Cox and the American.
Yeah, I mean, he was this Brit who made this American movie that was so interesting, and just as it related to like Tarantino's
Oh
sort of
yes,
like bouillabaisse of things, like,
yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things. Okay, so
Oh, and
like
also one thing,
yeah.
people say pastiche in like a negative way, and I think that's such a like a reductive, dumb
Oh, it's
way
yeah,
of
no,
assessing Tarantino's work. It's brilliant,
yeah.
and the things he pulls out of each of those genres is not necessarily the most obvious.
It's certainly not the most obvious, and like I'm not, I I'm not a Tarantino fanboy. I think he's I mean, he changed cinema. I mean,
No, he absolutely did. Yeah.
it's like I have my personal thoughts about certain things, and I've actually had conversations with him where I was able to confront those things.
That's another thing I like. Apparently, it seems like, and I'm sure you, I mean, you can attest to my feeling is that if you said, this thing is this or whatever, and
Yeah,
it was not necessarily glowing or like, oh
yeah.
my God, that he'd be like, yeah, no, that's interesting that you would say that or something. That's
Well,
the
this was
vibe I
also
get.
like before Jackie Brown dropped, pretty early in his career outside of a deli, with like he and I and a mutual friend musician having a very passionate conversation. And I think if you come at it with knowledge and genuine curiosity with anyone, it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
But all that to say, like, there's a certain kind of sort of fanboy that we see at outside in line at a lot of LA theaters. And there's a certain archetype. They're always male.
Always.
They're always white.
Always. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they are usually portly. And I'm not body shaming here, but it's a
No, I
certain.
mean,
It is
or
just.
as Randall Badat talks
Yeah,
about the two guys in the
yeah,
movie, I was like,
yeah,
how do I refer to them? I was like,
yeah.
the overweight guys. I was like, that's not. And he said, oh, those large boys. And I was like, there you go,
Large boys. Yeah.
large boys. Yeah,
So the sort of Tarantino fanboys who are the first in line at the rep theaters and the loudest and letting you know exactly what sucks and exactly what's brilliant.
yeah.
I find that like
Indicating they
sometimes a
know it.
fan of an artist
Yeah.
affects your perception of the artist. Like if
Yes.
whether it's a band and you're like, oh, their fans are so annoying, or it's a director. But all that to say, going back to atmosphere and vibe,
Yes. Yeah.
what Tarantino did with the South Bay
Oh,
and
okay.
with the Deep Valley
Yeah.
is really amazing, because as an Angelino, nobody talks about the South Bay,
Uh-huh.
and he really did it. And you know who did the South Bay quite well was my favorite filmmaker is PTA
Oh
in
God.
Inherent
Yeah.
Vice.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Unfortunately, I had to leave that screening. I saw it at New Beverly, and I got a pack of the laughers there who were just laughing at anything. It's a period piece, and
uh-huh,
people are laughing at old tech or whatever. And
uh-huh.
I was like, I'm fucking out of here. And
Ooh,
unfortunately, I never got around to, I was like, I'll see it in the theater because
yeah,
it got released when I first moved here, that
uh-huh.
great billboard on Sunset. And then so that's a good reminder. I got to catch up on
It's
him.
great. It holds up. It's amazing. I think it's also good because his new film, I think, is not a companion piece, but I think has some shared elements. And yeah, I mean, but that movie is great. I actually saw that in a screening before the sound was done at Warner Brothers,
Oh,
and
cool.
it was like pretty cool to have cast and crew and people in there, and it was like super fanboy moment. I am a PTA fanboy, though. That I will unabashedly say.
Well, that's a kind of fanboy that if you're like really into movies, you go, "Oh, I get you." Yeah, like, but it's not the thing that makes girls go, "Oh, got a fucking Pulp Fiction poster on his wall."
Yeah, or the sort of indie rock version, which is like an A24
Yeah,
hat.
exactly. Or like sometimes with music, the people would be like, "I know, Guided by Voices. He's a great songwriter."
Yeah,
All right, enough already.
yeah,
So Kiss is good too.
yeah.
That kind of thing.
I think that it's interesting because I'm very open minded. I don't have guilty pleasures, but I
Same here.
definitely do have my biases and things that I'm not into, and so I don't like it when people identify when people like think that what they don't like is personality or character,
Yeah,
right? Like
100%.
it's
Yeah.
not. And I'm more interested in talking about the things that I love and the things that I hate. But it's interesting because I am a little bit that guy that like will want to talk about the nerdy guy by voices. And I will have to say, um, I'm so like, because I'm old, there's certain people that do things younger, and I'm not a jealous person I'm a competitive person, but never a jealous person.
Yeah.
I believe that the door that swings open for one person either stays open or like that if the door opens for someone and you see them walk through it, you should be happy that they pointed out that there is a door in that wall
Yes.
and that you can walk through your own, if not that one.
Yes,
I feel like
absolutely.
I come from abundance and there's enough for everybody.
We all get in the little pit sometimes,
Right.
but it's about like getting out of that pit and going, wait, that's not me. You
Yeah,
know?
no,
Yeah.
and for me, like sometimes it's like when someone younger does something that I'm excited jealous by, not angry jealous, but like, oh, you did it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and one of the things to really get over for me was buying my Alara baseball hat secondhand
Uh-huh.
because I am such a fanboy of the Safdies, and
Uh-huh.
being like old enough to be their maybe dad or older brother is great to be able to be like, yeah, I rock the hat because like those guys fucking did it, and they did it in the coolest way.
Yeah, and on their own terms. And then when
Just
just like Tarantino, Alex Cox, when you do it on your own terms, you've sort of written your ticket. Like that's it, or like John Carpenter putting it,
oh,
his stuff is very much his, but John Carpenter's Halloween, whatever the deal was, he said, okay, whatever you're paying me, my name goes over
it's
the
fucking
title, and
yeah.
that's it's burnt into your mind.
As is the music. I mean, you know,
Oh
when
my
your
God,
phone will
yeah,
autoplay something because it's in your phone, that like when we used to download stuff to our
yeah.
phone, the Escape from New York soundtrack probably is the most played because of wherever it lies in my library.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I listen to that stuff a lot.
It's so good. The Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah.
That soundtrack, I mean, when you listen to the record, there's not that many different songs,
Yeah.
but you can't help playing it in a loop because it's
It's
just
so
that
good.
good. Yeah.
You know what I recently ripped from online, and I know this because I was going through I'm like, why is like my hard drive almost full? And I was like cleaning shit out, and I found the Miracle Mile soundtrack.
Oh my God. Yeah. The Tangerine Dream one.
Dude, it is so good.
Did you get it from that channel that has every Tangerine Dream soundtrack? I'll send it to you
No.
if you don't.
Yeah,
There is
yeah,
some
please.
angel out there. They even have like used people up
Wow.
there.
Really?
That reminds me, a great LA film. And you may have seen it.
Mm-mm.
It
I've
was
heard of it, of course, but
no, Heartbreakers.
what's Heartbreakers?
Oh my God. It's one of the greatest undiscovered or like overlooked movies. Orion put it out and then sort of
I
didn't
love
care about it.
Orion.
Right? I know when that thing
As soon as it comes up,
unfurls.
I get
Yeah.
so pumped. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
So Fun City Editions, an incredible label. They just put out
Okay.
Heavenly Bodies when they put out they're gonna put out Baby It's You
Uh-huh.
and like even Falling in Love but with De Niro and Meryl Streep. But
Never seen that.
Heartbreakers is Peter Coyote,
Uh-huh.
Nick Mancuso, and I'm trying to remember who else is in it, but it's so LA. There's a couple. There's a coffee shop I'm blanking on the name of. It's very famous
Mm-hmm.
one, and they shot at the Sports Connection before Perfect did. It was
Oh
that
my
place that
God.
yeah, and I think the
Perfect.
CVS now or something on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
It's either that or Walgreens. And there are two workout scenes, and they're to Tangerine Dream.
Oh my God.
Glass bricks everywhere you look.
Ugh. Perfect is huge. I was just talking to Spencer about this the other day because we were shooting a music video on Tahunga and Chandler,
Uh-huh.
and there was a building, and I said, "That's an important building." He said, "Why?" I said, "Well, it was called the Clubhouse, and it was actually more perfect than the Sports Connection or any of the gyms."
Hmm.
And I knew a guy who taught a jump rope class there, and it was like aerobics, Nautilus, sauna, jump rope, and it was
Yeah.
like the thing. And he was like sort of the male Jamie Lee Curtis of that gym. And I used to hang out there, and it was just a total meat market in like
Uh-huh.
the 80s. And we're talking like 82, 83, 84, like
Okay, yeah.
prime. And he's like, "Is Perfect good?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's incredible.
Hmm.
Like Perfect is so good."
I love that.
Yeah.
I have the poster in my bathroom.
Ugh,
I still have the original Rolling Stone with the two of them on the cover.
that's amazing.
Columbia thought that was going to be the smash hit of the
Yeah.
year, so they ignored what was going on over on the Fright Night set. They were like, "Yeah, that's a silly little movie." And of course, Fright Night, one of the biggest
Yeah.
movies of that year. I love
Huge
Perfect,
movie for me, Fright Night.
and I'm sure you saw Perfect at the theater when it came out, right? Or maybe,
I had to have.
yeah, because there's a lot of things in the movie that are ruined by the horrible pan and scan, and I got to see it at New Beverly,
Mhm.
and for some reason, even the phone call scenes where he's like, "Hello," and he sort of darts into frame.
Right.
When you see the proper framing,
Right.
they have actually an impact on you, and the workout scenes, everything.
Yeah.
That played on a double bill with a great LA movie that I only discovered that night that now I'm obsessed with, Mike's Murder.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
send it to you. It's great.
Yeah.
It's so good. I've
No, I
been,
mean, I know what it is from
you
the
know
time. Yeah.
exactly, but
I
same
never
here. I
saw it.
was like, oh, okay, that's that
Yeah.
James Bridges movie, that
Yeah.
production problems or whatever. It's wild, and it's such a specific LA movie about
Right.
certain things that I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to spoil. But
Okay. That's
I've been hot in
exciting.
the trail of Deborah Winger to try to get an interview with her. I talked with all of the surviving cast except for her and I think another person. So
Yeah, she's amazing and on my list of I will pull you out of retirement and put you in something magical.
yes,
My
yeah.
greatest regret of that is that Roy Scheider died
That is so funny you said
because
that.
he's sort of the goat to me. Like
I
he is my like he's just so special.
Ada's gonna laugh really hard. Ada, this is for you, because the other day I was telling her I can't remember what movie,
Mm,
and I said, "Oh, and Roy Scheider's in it," and she goes, "Oh, it's like your favorite actor
mm,
apparently.
mm.
Like you love Roy," and I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
And then so now jokingly I'll be like, "Hey, that movie, she was watching French Connection." I go, "You know who's really good in that movie? Send," and then like 3 seconds later, Roy Scheider.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Blue Thunder. I think it was a
Yes.
DGA screening.
Wow.
And obviously there's the Jaws, but like Marathon Man,
Yeah.
it's an amazing
By the
one.
way, that's the movie I said, Marathon Man. I was telling her about
Oh
Is
yeah,
It
yeah, yeah,
Safe?
yeah.
And I said, so there's this. And I said, oh, Roy
By the way,
Scheider's in
you
it.
know who also is in that, who plays the brother and like
Yeah.
the pivotal character. He's incredible. I mean, have you seen The Myth of Fingerprints?
No, is he in that?
Yeah. So it's Julianne Moore, the person who ended up, because of this film, becoming her husband. I think it's Bart Freundlich is his
That
name.
sounds right. Yeah.
Right? And Noah Wiley, who was the star of ER at the time,
Yeah.
along with, right, who I went to junior high with
hmm
in the Valley. The Myth of Fingerprints is an amazing family drama.
hmm
And it's really moody and it's really dark and Roy Scheider is fucking incredible in it.
I have to see that now. I mean, I've even watched Night Game. Have you seen that piece of garbage?
No.
Also, The Men's Club. I mean, hot, sweaty garbage.
Yeah.
Co-starring
Yeah.
Craig Wasson, too,
Okay.
from Body Double.
Yeah.
It is, and Harvey Keitel. I mean, it is bad,
Yeah.
but it's fascinatingly bad.
Yeah.
86.
He,
Yeah, Roy had,
he was so special.
oh yeah, I'll watch anything with him in it. I'm amazed I haven't seen that. I also haven't seen Mishima, A Life in Four Chapters.
Yeah, no, I haven't either.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize he was in it.
That was like forever on when I was a kid. Like,
I remember passing the video box. It was
yeah,
gray and
totally.
red. Yeah.
So I have one for you before we jump into Serve 2.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen The Pink Angels?
No. Oh wait, is it a biker movie?
It's a gay biker movie.
Yes, I saw. Well, wait, did I? Okay, I'm aware of it. No, You know what it is? I saw the trailer on one of those compilations of
Okay.
trailers. Yeah.
My dad is one of the leads.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He's in the trailer.
I've
And like
gotta
the
see
most
that.
memorable part of the trailer that
Yeah.
people like laugh. And so years back, there was this really famous video store in the Valley called the Odyssey.
Oh, I've heard it. Wait, and it just closed
It
recently,
just closed, right?
Say, was it the original sign that was up? Because
Yep.
when I first moved here, I was in North Hollywood, and I was like,
Yep.
ooh,
Right. So the Odyssey was probably the biggest video store in Los Angeles. I mean, the square footage was massive.
yeah,
It was like most video stores are a hole in the wall or a
Yeah.
back room.
Right.
This was like a mattress showroom. It was literally just like a department store of movies. And they had
yeah.
obviously like the adults only section in the back where I sold my stuff. Right. And then, but like, I remember like, cause they just had really good B-movie stuff cause they just had a great buyer or whatever. But like, that's where you get like Fraternity Vacation and
yeah.
like all the like,
Black Moon Rising.
what's Black Moon Rising?
Oh my God, I only saw it during the pandemic. Tommy Lee Jones, Linda Hamilton, and
Yeah.
Original script by John Carpenter.
Wow. No, I haven't seen that. But like, this is like, they had their like teen section, you know, and it's like,
oh, sorry, also Leaving. Just wanted to throw that.
oh God, Flashdance.
yeah.
Flashdance fame. So on the shelf once I saw my dad's movie and I was like, oh my God. And I picked it up and someone had written in pen, this is the worst movie ever made. And I just thought it was so before the people, Grindhouse was in the lexicon or people liked, openly liked, because this is in the Valley. It wasn't Rocket Video on La Brea, and it wasn't Mondo Video Go-Go and Los Feliz, both of which I was later members of, which if you don't know, Mondo Video Go-Go was run by, I mean, it needs a documentary on its own. I mean, there was a chicken hawk section.
What?
Like Mondo Video Go Go.
Wow.
So back when Los Feliz was like the Onyx, like way pre-Fred 62, like back in the days when Los Feliz was like kind of grimy
I
on the
like that
edge.
delineation
Oh
point.
yeah.
Fred
Oh well,
60.
Fred's is the
Yeah.
coolest, and
No,
like
no, but I mean,
yeah,
I know exactly what you're saying.
they made
Yeah.
Los Feliz cool, but like the Onyx was a hip coffee shop on Vermont. EK, or the store was there, the that did sort of the the t-shirts and the funky stuff. And it just the whole place felt like the whole boulevard felt like sort of Exene Cervenka, like
Okay.
infused.
Sure.
Mondo Video Go Go was run by a guy who I mean, there might have been I'm sure there was a Nazi section.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
it was gnarly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this dude was a total creep. He's super problematic.
Yeah.
Maybe criminal.
Yeah.
And I remember that they were open up until recently, and I walked, but a different location, and I walked in, and it was sketchy. It felt like if you asked a Law and Order episode, if you asked behind the counter, they might have snuff. It was
Yeah.
pretty gnarly.
It could be in 52 pickup.
It's totally deep.
Alan Ramey
callback.
worked at Mondo.
So Mondo Video Go Go is deep, but when I saw this movie there at the Odyssey, it was a big deal. But I was like, Dad, they have it. And subsequently, somebody who worked and programmed a Grindhouse festival, and I believe worked for Tarantino,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, you have to show this movie. And he's like, the rights are too expensive. And
Really?
so
Wow.
this company is being really tight with it. And I have the original poster. I have the original one sheet frames, from when they put it on a plaque from my dad back then. I have the all the photo kit, the press kit.
Oh, yeah.
Want to get a print of it,
Yeah.
so that I can donate it to places, so
they can screen it whenever. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Vidiots, a new Bev, whatever. So,
Yeah.
But anyways, my dad's in that. It's a fun one. It's so bad.
I'm sure they would love to play it at both of those places.
Everybody does, but it's just too expensive.
Yeah.
And the plot is great. It is a group of gay interracial bikers called the Pink Angels are on their way to the annual drag ball in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
And along the way encounter real aggressive 1% motorcycle guys.
This
and
sounds
it's
incredible.
A comedy, obviously.
Yeah,
and
of course. I mean, that's a
incredibly
hilarious film.
campy.
Yeah.
No one gets shot off their bike. But it's pretty funny.
That sounds great. Well, what the other thing too about video stores is that folks who didn't experience them or didn't experience them until Blockbuster don't get is what you were saying. There was a character to each store.
Totally.
And you knew, okay, that place I can go find Litzomania there, but I can't
What's
get it.
that?
Oh, it's Roger Daltrey.
Okay.
In a film that Ken Russell made the same year as Tommy.
Oh, wow.
Ringo Starr plays the Pope. It's a small role. There's
Okay.
phallic imagery everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Rick Wakeman's in it. I would not want to spoil what happens in it. And Paul Nicholas playing Waggoner.
Call back to Billy Shears.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rocket Video was on La Brea, just north of Melrose, and that was where you went for it was the Criterion Collection in a store.
Okay.
It was just great. It was highbrow. It was cool, and just thinking about all the filmmakers in Los Angeles who think about the movies that were made from these video stores, just as whatever video store was in New Jersey that allowed Kevin Smith to learn these things, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're in LA, this transient city of all these transplants who come here to make something, right? Sort of the best and brightest or the freakiest and funkiest from everywhere in the world comes here. And then they go, oh, there's this place down the street from me. And you just know that I'm certain that at some point Spike Jonze was, and Sophia and all these people were renting from Rocket.
Yeah.
And going, oh, this is great, and getting turned on to stuff, and then turning around and changing cinema in their own way.
Yeah.
And that's what I miss, and that's why I'm glad that something like Vidiot still exists, so we can do that, because I don't want to watch everything on YouTube. I don't, you know what I mean?
No, I do. Yeah, there's something about going to the store or just physical media in general. I'm glad that some folks are waking up to the importance of physical media with big movies just not being available at all.
Literally talking about that on sports radio on the drive over.
You're kidding.
I swear to God, they were having the conversation, and it was on 710, and they were talking on AM radio on the drive over here about how they were looking for an episode of The Tonight Show, the first one ever, and they were looking for an episode of of Good Times that doesn't exist, because every time Velma was saying, Joan of Arc, Amelia Earhart, and saying all these incredible women who are trailblazers, JJ's answer to all was O.J. Simpson, O.J. Simpson, O.J. Simpson. His counter to every important cultural,
Yeah.
scientific development, educational, inventor, creator, writer, O.J. Simpson. And they pulled that from the archives. But what they were saying is, we just can't trust the cloud. We can't trust media. We need physical copies.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, the woman spoke up and said, it's incredibly hard to get 28 days later physical media. And I was like, it's apparently not available for streaming, or it was expensive or something. But
Yeah.
I was like, how is that movie not super readily available?
Yeah, almost like there's that thing again. Like, you know what I mean? Just like wallpaper. Oh, there it
Yeah.
is again. Yeah, that's bizarre. And there's other movies like that. And also that weird thing now where Warner Brothers just basically like deleted, like Batgirl and some other stuff.
Well, see, that's what they were talking about. There's like a decision of a streamer to pull stuff.
Yeah.
We're powerless over it. So we have to be able to. I mean, behind you is 5 films. I remember when you couldn't get Husbands.
Oh my God, I know.
And like, I only bought that so that I could have Husbands.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember taping it off IFC.
That's amazing.
I would get Cinemax for a month so I could get Altman's Health, because it was never barely released,
Right.
and still not on any format, or Three Women before it was on a home video. But yeah, his stuff is the
And
greatest.
again, video store. I was in New York, and I walked down to Kim's Video in the East Village, and I rented Husbands, and that film changed my life, and that set me on a course to pre-pro and development of a script, that a first one that I ever really took out there for.
Oh wow.
And because I was like so inspired by Husbands. But we need that physical media.
No, we do. I mean, Love Streams was only issued on VHS in like 300 copies. So I ended up stealing it from the video store I worked at, because I was like, no one rents this.
No one rents Love Streams. Yeah.
No one. And I was like, I need this, and I should have it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's acceptable. And then when that came out on Blu-ray, there's stuff in it that's not in the VHS. And that's a screening I walked out of. I got a problem with audiences right now.
I have a problem with audiences. I have a problem with. So what's yours?
This laughing thing.
Mine's a specific kind of laughing thing.
Okay, I wonder if it's similar or
There's
adjacent.
two laughing that bugs me. One I actually kind of like.
Okay, what's the one you like?
Okay, the one I like is when you go to a non-rep, sort of art house film, and you go to like the Grove, the Americana, and you see a horror film, and there are like young sort of like machismo, like to be honest, it's usually like Latin kids or Black kids, because they're with and like, look, as a person of color, don't come at me. I'm just calling it as it is. So you get like these like 18 to 25-year-old Latin kids who are there with their girls, and they're watching a horror movie. But when they get scared, they laugh, because it makes it so that you're not vulnerable in that moment. The same reason that I might get chatty.
Sure.
Right. And I don't talk in the movie, but I'm saying, like, if I'm anxious and I'm watching like a Nathan Fielder thing with my son, the way for me not to be anxious is to talk to him about it or to leave the room. Like
that
when I watched that
Showtime
Showtime show, like with Benny Safdie, I forget what it's called.
I forget too, but
like I was watching that, and whoa, it was like speedballing, like Curb Your Enthusiasm. I was like, I can't, and I like stepped outside, and I would start talking to him, and he's like, Dad, shut up, and I'm like, I know, I'm just so anxious. So when you go to a theater that's not like one of those put your phone away, like, or we'll report you, when it's just like it's Friday night at the Americana, you got your popcorn and your big thing of Coke, and you're sitting there, and you get like this like sort of young like dude, he's with this girl and he's being cool, and he gets nervous and he like starts laughing or talking. I love that, because I'm like, oh, he's scared and he's trying to talk, and so he doesn't get scared by the jump scare. That's the one I like.
That sounds like a good easy to appreciate laughter, because it's like it gives the vibe. It gives a vibe to the screening. What I don't like is a variation of that, but it's at the rep cinemas, and it is basically, I think, people unable to cope with emotion that is on screen.
I fucking hate that. That laughter.
Hate it.
And it's always at the rep places.
Yes.
And it's the most annoying. And it's a very fucking, I mean, sometimes it's a millennial thing, I find, but maybe not. Maybe it's an older thing. Because here's what I have a problem with is this happened, it happened during cruising. This is something that I get really upset with.
Wait,
And
did you see Cruising during Pride Month? Because I had a fucking guy behind me that I should have
at the
hit.
Los Feliz 3?
No, okay, never mind. I
Yeah.
saw it at New Beverly. There was a guy behind me laughing at every gay thing.
Oh, that's I would have fucking gotten
I
a
should
fight.
have. I should have.
No, I went
yeah.
and I brought my son, who's a film student and 17, and we went to the Los Feliz 3, and he fucking loved it. And I was like, no, this movie is fucking everything, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's major. But no, it's this thing where you get these fucking, these film nerd fucking, I mean, these fucking people who can't deal with their emotions. And
Yeah.
so it's like, look, and it's always they're laughing at something that's not supposed to be funny. And to me, it's, I mean, I'm so angry about this.
I love this. No, this is
like,
very much my vibe.
So here's how I identify it is, are you so unwilling to give yourself over to the film in the same way I said be vulnerable to a jump scare?
Yeah.
Are you so unwilling as this sort of highbrow, I have my membership and I come to this place and I know all of this cinema and I'm so well versed in this shit. Are you so unwilling to allow for cheese, camp, vulnerability, maybe a bad line, maybe a bad line reading that you need to it's not signifying, but they're indicating. They're indicating to other people, I think this is funny.
Yeah.
This is bad. And it happens at the New Bev a lot.
A lot more lately too.
Where you're seeing these people, and by the way, that theater is so fucking inextricably linked to being an Angelino in Los Angeles, and
it's my favorite place in LA. I think.
Dude, I mean, when in Swingers, when you see the schedule on the fridge, that was all of us.
Yeah,
that was everyone in Los Angeles. If you got your first fucking apartment away from your parents, if you didn't have a New Beverly calendar on your fridge, then you weren't like in the know. You know?
Yeah.
But just have joy.
Yeah.
Just don't be too smart for it.
Yeah.
Like,
because it's robbing them. They don't realize that it's robbing them of the experience they could be having. I almost want to sit them down and go, do you understand that you could be having this incredibly enriching experience if you, as you said, are vulnerable to this, or try to wonder what is going on? What is going on? Because you don't always know what's going on. And that's part of the joy of film.
The parts that they laugh at aren't intended like...
Oh, love streams.
Right.
They were laughing. When the sun shows up, that whole...
Never seen all of it.
Right. Well, did you see the stuff with Cassavetes' character and his
son?
So
little of it, like,
you could watch 5 minutes of that and go, this is not a comedy.
Of course not. None of them are. None of them are. You can't laugh at opening night. Like,
yeah.
It's like, but the thing is, and I don't know if this happened in an Ari Aster film in a part, but my thing lately is, why are these highbrow fucking hipster audiences laughing at the parts that are actually not supposed to be funny? And I got into a real big debate with my son about it, and he was just like, I mean... He's like, well, sometimes I laugh at parts I'm like, very fucking different.
Yeah.
You laugh when something's funny to you.
Yeah.
These people are laughing because they're trying to show people what they're not.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And also with that, to show, oh, haha, I get that. See, I know that. Or like, yeah, oh, I hate it.
I just want to I am the kind of movie viewer where I want to sit down and get dumb. Like when I go into a theater, I'm just like, I don't know. And I'm just watching. And my suspension of disbelief and my sitting down in my seat when the lights go dim and I give myself over to it. I just went and saw The Monkey and was having a conversation about how it's a Stephen King story. By the time the trailers were done and the lights went down and I started watching this movie, it wasn't until 5 or 10 minutes in that I remembered that it was a Stephen King short story.
Yeah.
Because I'd completely given myself over to this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be the smartest person in the room. I just want to be the most open person to receive the movie.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because it's the best feeling. It's so enriching. I was talking to my mom last night about Magnolia and just how
It's my favorite. It's in my top 10.
it's so great. It's incredible, and I don't know if there's another film that deals with grief in the way that that does, and in all aspects of life too. Donnie with his childhood and all that
so
stuff.
heavy. It's so
It's so
special.
affecting. And then when the song kicks in, I remember the first time I saw it. It was before people started spoiling it in the papers, and I was like,
I just got goosebumps.
no, me too, right? And every time I see it, and I've thankfully New Bev played it a couple times in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But when it came out, I saw it like 3 times at the theater. It's unbelievable, and also it's such an epic, crazy movie. But we were talking about how the cathartic nature of every kind of movie, even like stupid comedies like Surf 2, which we'll talk about at some point. But even that, it takes you to a place, and then you're happier, or you're inspired a little bit, or you're taken out of the current
That's
gloom
the
there.
thing.
Yeah.
I always tell the story of I remember walking out of the theater when The Breakfast Club first screened, opening weekend.
Yeah.
And I remember walking out silent
Mm-hmm.
with my best friend, Noah Stone. We're in junior high. This is like the older kids than us in real time. And we walked out of the theater, and I would have to look up what time of year, but I remember it was overcast. So I feel like it seems like it'd be a summer movie, but I could have swore it was like the fall. It was overcast. I think we were in Westwood, as we saw everything in Westwood.
That was like the big place, right?
It was the biggest. It was the best. It was the best place to see a movie in the world. Like I've seen things at the the Chinese theater.
Mm-hmm.
Romeo and Juliet premiere was there, and I contributed to the music. That was amazing.
Oh, that's great.
But like Westwood was it, man. I mean, dude, I saw the I think I saw the Beat Street premiere there. Like,
wow.
Yeah, like it's Westwood was every weekend was something. That's why when PTA took over the Bruin and the Fox and he did Licorice Pizza there for like a month during peak COVID when you had to mask up, and he did the Pinball Palace next door. The reason why he did it there was because that's where we all saw movies.
Okay.
That was where you saw event movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm certain if you went back and looked at where's the ET premiere, it's got to be in Westwood. Everything was in Westwood.
Yeah.
But when I walked out of the cinema, the movie theater, we were quiet and we didn't really know what to say to each other because we didn't know what The Breakfast Club was. We thought it was going to be another funny John Hughes or like an 80s. But I felt like I knew a secret. I felt like somebody whispered in my ear some information.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember the thought in my head was, how do we go on as if things are normal, knowing what we know now?
Right.
Because I definitely felt transformed.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you go back to your life, everything's the same, but
Sure.
you're different.
You are.
Because something happened and you gave yourself over to that. And when you're fucking nerds like us and you believe in the transformative power of film and of music and how something can change your fucking life, truly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how there's records that I know my life wouldn't be the same.
Oh, absolutely.
There's this great Instagram account, 120 Minutes Revisited.
Oh, cool.
And you got to follow it.
I have
and
to.
What's great is if you go back on the threads, you're going to see all these ones of me in the comments going, this song changed my life. and the last time I post it, and they always respond, and I go, I know that I've said this before, but if it wasn't for this song, I definitely wouldn't have made this record in 1996 because I watched it in. And that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah, no, it really is. And there's so many of those iconic shows that played such a big part in our lives, particularly pre-internet. When you think about how even Headbangers Ball, I would watch that because, there'd be something here and there, like Primus would get played.
Really?
Yeah. That's where I think I first saw their video. Nirvana, very early on, was played on that. And my brother and I had a bit of a sport hating Ricky Rackman. So.
Well, I think I was not a Ricky person, but whoever took my friend named Dom later. That. Heavy Metal Dom is a good friend of mine.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And wasn't Ricky not the original host? Wasn't Adam Curry the original host of Headbangers Ball?
I don't know. I don't have one metal bone in my body.
Oh, okay.
Like I am like
metal free.
I saw the white snake shirt and I was like, that is so over my head. Like when that stuff happened, I was like, if it wasn't from like Brooklyn or Manhattan hip hop or the Bronx, like I didn't even want to listen. Even LA, there was like 3 or 4 hip hop groups in LA, but I was such a a super fanboy of everything hip hop in that era. So I miss metal completely.
Well,
And
this is a terrible album, but great cover.
it's a great cover.
And I did an audio documentary on the whole "Here We Go Again" or "Here I Go Again." You think I remember the name of the song? "Here I Go Again" phenomenon with Tawny Katane in the video. So I got to talk to Tawny, yeah, and at her house, and then Marty Callner, legendary Marty Callner,
yeah, totally,
and all the folks except for Coverdale. And the great thing about that is that he sealed the narrative that everyone was saying about him. He could have countered it.
Right, yeah. No, yeah. His lack of participation, like, solidified what we already knew.
Exactly. I love some metal like Judas Priest and all that.
Well, Judas Priest is amazing. Like, Judas Priest and Maiden, like, to me, that's like Sabbath. That's like a whole other, that's aggressive. That's Hesher music. I love that. Like, I don't know the records, but you put that on, I'm going to be like, this is fucking incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
Priest, Maiden, Sabbath. When I say I don't like, I mean butt rock hair metal.
Oh, I don't like any of the hair metal stuff, and I would get particularly aggrieved when people would call it glam, just glam or glam rock, and I go, no,
don't call it fucking
not glam rock.
That's an affront to like everything that's great about like T-Rex and Bowie and the Sweet and like
no, it's not that. Poison is dreadful.
Yeah, that kind of music is rough. Although I will have to say, like, it wouldn't be hard to like play me the right like Crew song and I'd be like, oh, that's cool, like off of the first EP or something. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
but like as a whole, and like I have a weird thing with GNR because I do love Slash and Duff is a really great dude, and I went to see the Use Your Illusion tour at the LA Coliseum or the Rose Bowl, and it was like, I mean, even though I think that's a double album, what if you just cut the fat, it's a perfect single album.
Yeah,
sort of like Watch the Throne by man who I will not say his name and Jay-Z. If you just trim the fat, that's a great album instead of like 20 songs, whatever it is. But that was still peak of their powers, GNR. Like it was still like well, it was actually, so Gilby was in the band and
they had the Vegas horn section and
yeah. It was right. It was probably like I was late to it, but it was fun.
I saw that tour as well. I loved it.
Oh, you did?
Except, in Massachusetts, except for the fact that he came on 4.5, 5 hours late on a school night. There's no excuse for that.
He's
none.
Just,
yeah. But they're fascinating. Another band where you go, you guys only had like 2-3 albums. I mean, not the cover album.
Yeah.
But you always think, you guys were on top of the world, could have done anything you wanted, and this is what you did? I mean, I know everyone's story is different, and you never can say until you're there.
It's just like, it's excess, it's addiction, and it's and then in the case of some, it's probably like mental wellness, and it's a lot.
Well, that's true. Whatever has been said about Axl, clearly there's something going on. I mean,
I do remember one point, though, somebody was telling me, and this is like an insider, that one of the reasons he was getting really late for shows when they were touring is he was at like, not Rock in Rio, but something like that, and he wouldn't go on until he had the right person come in and bless the electrical outlets. So like
that speaks to
that's a very specific type of ism.
Yes, it is. It is. Let's take a little break before Surf 2, but there was something else I was going to mention about. You must have been in and around the Sunset Strip in the hair metal days, though, and I love Decline of Western Civilization because of the very specific era that was. Like, I necessarily would not have wanted to go to those shows.
Yeah.
But Gazzari's, especially because in Killing of a Chinese Bookie, it's Gazzari's that they're using as Gazzara's Club.
Yeah.
I went to a terrible magazine party one time at the place that became Bar One. And they tore it down and rebuilt it, but I was like, I don't care. I'm standing in the grounds of what used to be Gazzari's. And it's not the same anymore.
Well, Bar One was further up the strip. Bar One was not to be that guy, but we are documenting this.
Yeah.
So Bar One was, it's if you go all the way to the end of the Sunset Strip, right before the beginning of Beverly Hills, where the Beverly Hills sign is, it becomes residential. That building, it's a club now. I forget what it's called, but it's right there by the City National Building, and it's like, that was Bar One.
Oh, okay. I'm probably mixing it up.
Gazzari's became the Key Club.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I was like, I just want to go here. I don't care what bullshit.
Dude, Gazzari's, I went. I think I played Gazzari's. Yeah, it was a trip for sure.
That's really cool. That's so cool because there's these places to me that are iconic. I'm not really much of a like, I went to this movie location. The Nightmare on Elm Street house. There's not.
I like I nerd out on the movie locations.
No, I mean, there's not. I'm saying like not there's, but there's some ones. There's some of them that are like, I want to go there.
Yeah,
really bad. It makes up for all the other ones. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
but I don't want to go. Like there's certain things in like maybe Repo Man or what's the big one? The big one is the Chemisphere from Body Double. When
Yeah.
I first saw that, when I moved here, I was like, this is amazing.
It's unbelievable.
And a friend wanted to rent it for a party. Did you ever get to go in there? Because for a
I
while in the
didn't.
80s, it was like a party rental house.
No, and I didn't know about that because we would have, but I used to drive up there and hang out below it and everything, much to the chagrin of the neighbors. I grew up down the street pretty close to the Brady Bunch house,
Uh-huh.
which now is like, like an HGTV, like, remake, but and they never filmed in the interior, but that was cool. I grew up in the valley around the corner from Barris, who did all the custom cars. So they did the Batmobile,
Okay,
they
yeah.
did the Munsters Mobile, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of locations in our hood. So I still love that sort of old LA thing. But to the point of Repo Man,
Yeah.
we are doing for all the videos in the sort of, I call it like the Warfield video universe for them. There's this album I'm doing called Death Rock Devotionals, and there's 2 EPs, Volume 1 and Volume 2, and all the videos are connected with a through line and narrative and cast.
Wow.
And it wasn't planned as such. We did the first video and it felt great, and we had these amazing kids, and I was like, I want to keep using these people like Warhol superstars, come the Warfield superstars.
Yeah,
and we were like, and so we started doing this narrative, and then it became Repo Man inspired.
Yeah.
So there is a glowing green sci-fi element through it
great.
all. And we just filmed the second installment along all the same streets.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
The same downtown streets.
Past
that
the
they
Orpheum.
filmed.
And you know what the best thing of it on the sign, the movie theater, the Orpheum, right? I think the best is on the sign. And you couldn't see this on VHS, right?
Yeah.
But it's Staying Alive in Spanish.
Oh, my God. Nothing is cooler than in movies what's on the marquee in the background.
It's the best.
It's the best. It really is, right?
There's a movie, Shakedown with, it's not amazing, but it's fun. Peter Weller and Sam Elliott.
I've never seen it, and Weller's the best.
Weller is
also
incredible.
just like I know him a little bit because he's very close.
Dr. Peter Weller.
I don't know if you've ever had a conversation with him.
No, I'd
he's
love
one of the
to.
smartest people in any room.
I just heard him on the Gala show, Gala Avery,
Yeah.
and just for the folks out there who already know, but I want to give her a shout out. And she's been on many movie clubs.
She's great.
She's the best.
She's amazing.
And she had Dr. Weller on, and then Rich Johnson, who does Rich Pieces, and does a lot of booklet essays for like Fear City. He did Fear City and a ton of others. He does tons of stuff. Arrow, all of them. So he did a print interview, and then she did an episode.
He's amazing. Like, he's really an amazing dude. He's brilliant and really fascinating.
And also, it sounds like he was in the mix in like Studio 54, but also the art scene. He was talking about when he was dating Ally McGraw, and how she had all these friends who were in the art world, and she kind of turned him onto art, and just that whole milieu that he was in.
I mean, he's got degrees in this shit. He knows jazz. He plays the trumpet. I mean,
he was in a band with Jeff Goldblum.
He's as cool as it gets, and he's Bill Lee. I mean, he will always be Bill Lee from Naked Lunch to me.
Yeah, and RoboCop. I mean, that's pretty iconic. Like multiple things that you go, wow.
Yeah,
and that it's interesting too. The movies like that.
He's Buckaroo Banzai first.
Well, there you go. Right, of course he is. Of course he is. That's such a great movie. I was watching a Siskel and Ebert review of cult classics the other day, and they talk about Repo Man for the second time. And Gene Siskel is talking about, he's kind of off, like he is a lot of times.
Yeah.
He's like, I think they like the kids and the rebellion of it all. And I'm thinking, dude, that's not what the movie's about at all.
Yeah.
It's about how, people eventually get into the capitalist structure and all that, but and aliens. But but Ebert goes, no. The thing they love is the oldest guy in the movie. They love Harry Dean Stanton. He speaks to their like ethos. And I was like, he's
got a code.
Yeah, yes, he does.
He has a code.
Yeah, the repo code. Another
important.
great thing in that is the cutting in, not indiscriminately, but deliberately, day, night, during that speech.
It's incredible.
It really is.
Yeah, there's some good stuff that I've been ripping off from that, and we'll continue to rip off from that movie for the end of time.
Everyone did. Public Image Limited album.
Yeah.
That's clearly
it's
influenced
incredible.
by them.
Treat yourself right and head on over to patreon.com/CraigandFriends. Look at the reward tiers, see which one jumps out at you that you desire the most, and then just go for it. Grab life by the suspenders and pull at patreon.com/CraigandFriends.
Before we get into Surf 2, I have to ask, how much has LA changed for you in terms of I guess everything, because I've been here 10 years
Mhm.
and there's a change that I've seen, but of
Mhm.
course that's natural in life. Well, what are your feelings about the overall change in LA over the last 20, 30 years?
Um, Interesting. So LA has changed a lot. Um, I have I love the city. I've really finding I'm having a lot of trouble with sort of the narrative that the crime is so bad, got to get out.
Yeah.
Because the truth is that crime is down, violent crime is down, home invasions are up.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
home
Yeah.
invasions are scary,
Yeah. Super scary.
right?
Yeah.
But it's anecdotal, and it's
Mhm.
not like it's touched everyone, like it's somehow touched like someone that we all know. Like it's not like every one of us has a friend who's, like the fires. Every one of us knows somebody who lost something, a home in the fire.
By the
But
way, I want to mention
yeah.
the incredible stuff you did to make sure people were eating and taken care of.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it's
welcome.
just,
And Ada wanted me to compliment you on that too, because she was so touched by seeing all the efforts that you were
I mean,
doing.
it's not me, man. It's just like someone shows me how to do something and then I do it. And like during COVID, a friend of mine started a nonprofit. I was like, I want to help. I became a part of the nonprofit as one of the like 5 founding people. And we were like, oh, people are going out. And, it's like when we had long story short, it was called 911. And
Mm-hmm. It's a good name.
I didn't come up with it. It was great. This woman who's an incredible actress and director and filmmaker named Lola Glaudini. She's great. Friend of ours was working at an ER at Cedars and was like, we can't even stop to eat. We're so overwhelmed in the beginning of March
Wow.
2020.
Yeah.
And she's like, let me hold on. And she reached out to a friend who owned a restaurant in Los Feliz called Little Dom's. And she said, okay, Warner, like, I know you're having trouble because you're shut down and you still got to, keep the lights on. I'm going to order dinner or lunch from you and I'm going to, come pick it up and I'm going to drive it over to Cedars. So she hit a bunch of friends and said, who wants to donate $100 so we can feed some first responders? We did. And then she's like, I think I'm going to do this like as a thing.
Mm-hmm.
She got under someone's 501c3 thing. And next thing you know, we had a nonprofit and we're able to help a lot of restaurants that we knew
Mm-hmm.
and people that we didn't know were like, hey, like submit to us. We'll put you in the rotation.
Yeah.
We got volunteer drivers. I was on like local news talking about it. Like it was amazing. So when the fires happened, I was like, oh yeah, like I know what to do
Yeah.
because someone else
Yeah.
showed me. So
Yeah.
I was like, here's my friends that are having a hard time with restaurants or just places I love. If you call it in and you order it, I will deliver it to these people. And it was fun and it was good.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
it was great. We loved watching the progress of it. And also, we were like, wait, look, it's a different restaurant each day of the week.
Yeah.
And he actually brings it to them.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was one of those things. I think it's important to definitely try and incorporate service into the stuff that I do. But
And that's
wait.
a big part of your story in general, right? But we can talk about that another time.
No. But to your point, you were asking about LA. The
Yeah,
thing that bums
yeah.
me out right now is this. Like, first off, there's too many fucking transplants who've come here, especially post COVID. But the traffic is insane. The rents are super unaffordable, and
Yeah.
there's scarcity there's not enough rentals available. There's too many people here, and the people that come, I love it. This is a transient city. I'm one of the rare born and raised. My dad is born and raised. Only my mom was born in New York, but she still grew up out here.
I think you, Spencer, and Chelsea are the only ones I know who were born and raised here.
Yeah,
I think.
like totally, like real born and raised. And like I really grew up here and so much roots here, and I love this place. The thing that is destroying Los Angeles is developers and greed. And it's being overdeveloped. There's like people used to complain in the 80s and 90s about mini malls. Like mini malls are like welcome compared to what's happening with mixed use buildings.
Yeah.
Like we don't need affordable housing. We need subsidized and like no cost housing. The unhoused population is absolutely out of control, and it's tough to tackle. And like I am a hardcore dyed in the wool progressive far lefty compared to a lot of people. But the establishment has failed us here in Los Angeles and the local government. And it's frustrating to me because I am, in an era of MAGA and such division, I want to defend the Democratic leadership, but they failed us during the fires. Gavin Newsom has failed us where he could have saved film and television in Los Angeles, and he has not done enough for that. And the unhoused population, it's not an easy fix. You have maybe 5 different buckets. You have mental health. You have addiction. You have people who are sort of 3 or 4 paychecks away from destitute, and those are the people that are willing to be in shelters, abide by the rules, not drink and use, want to bring their dogs and their children, and they have small houses or they're in RVs. Just it could be any of us, right?
Yeah.
And then you have you basically have the Mad Max contingent, who I just call the Thunderdome people, who don't want to live within society.
Sure.
And it's like, fuck you. Like, you can't take that bus structure and just decide that, like, this old lady doesn't get to sit in the shade in the summer because you've now created, something with your hibachi grill and your mountain bike in a tent, and like, it's just fucking insane.
Yeah.
And so I have empathy for mental illness, and going back to the Reagan administration and all the things that they did, and the Nixon administration to, let people go, from like shut down asylums and the policing of this stuff. We don't need it policed. We need to say who needs to be treated for addiction, who needs to be treated for mental illness, who wants to be in shelters and in a path to like normalcy, and like what is the job creation inside of that, and then and then some sort of a system. Even though I think that the courts and the penal system and the mass incarceration and for-profit prisons are awful. Inevitably, if you don't want to live within the rules and bounds of society, and you want to be in that sort of Mad Max camp, and you can have a generator and a mountain bike and a grill, and you can do all this, but you want to do this on public land and inhibit kids walking or riding their bikes or old ladies sitting on bus benches, there has to be a strike system that says, like, if you keep getting ticketed for this and you keep doing it, eventually you're gonna have to go somewhere. And honestly, I think for people like that, you may just have to just take over like the Salton Sea or something and just be like, go create an actual Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Actually just go do your own Burning Man society. And just go do that there. If you like,
you don't have to worry about the bus benches, the pesky kids. Go for it.
Just go, go blast the Tina Turner, We Don't Need Another Hero, and just go be in Thunderdome away from civilized society. But we can't treat addiction like we treat mental illness, and we can't treat those like we treat people who don't want to live in a civilized society, and the people who are just like really on hard luck, or one crippling illness and medical bill that they couldn't pay away from. And so LA is fucked, and trying to find the solution to that is going to take money and compassion and a think tank of like-minded people across party lines. I don't think it's coming soon. People are overstating the crime here. They're not overstating the unhoused population. LA
They're also a lot of them demonizing.
Totally.
And dehumanizing.
Totally.
Even casually, people say, oh, the downtown, the homeless. They say it like it's like a rash, you know what I mean? Or like the clap. Even West Hollywood, there is, what is it? It's like a motel that's next to the old Howard Johnson, not IHOP. And it's going to be turned into, I think, a transitional living.
Is it the Alta
place.
Cienega at the corner of Holloway and?
Yes, I think so.
That was Jim Morrison's hotel.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's that, and then I was at the barber, and 2 things. They were blaming the closure of Kitchen 24 on the minimum wage hike, and I actually had an outburst. They said, wait, what is it always the minimum wage people? I was like, that's a restaurant that serves booze. They have no excuse.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Le Petit Four is...
I just posted about that.
And they're
enraged.
like, with the minimum wage hike, you're on Sunset Plaza. Go fuck yourself. You literally serve like mid to high end French food for people on the Beverly Hills border. And the minimum wage hike is why, like, you could say the cost of supplies. You can say that the cost of rent because of developers. But if you go down the list of things of why spending an extra like couple of $100 every few hours for the people that are keeping it afloat
Yeah.
and doing the labor. Fuck you.
Oh, it's the worst. And in it, they even kind of say, "Oh, and the soaring rents." It's like the minimum wage, and the soaring rents and some
People
other
are
stuff.
so like it's just
Yeah.
it's greed. Greed is killing Los Angeles, and I'm working on 2 screenplays at the moment. One is a multi-genre, multi-hyphenate, everything we talked about earlier in the atmosphere and the sort of Angelino film, and a lot of influenced by the things we were speaking of. And the other is also similar, but is a noir, and it's tied into some of the things we're talking about like development and corporate greed.
Yeah.
Like we don't need another apartment building above a Whole Foods. Like
Right.
we don't need another like it's like fucking yuppie living, and I'm
Yeah.
over it. And I'm
Yeah.
over so I've seen Los Angeles go through lots of changes. I think that the worst thing we can have is like a Republican administration that like sweeps it under the rug and goes, we need to clean up for the Olympics, and just like displaces a bunch of people and like puts a Band-Aid over it and like
Yeah.
a fresh coat of paint, because we need more than the fresh coat of paint. And so I feel like LA is in a really pivotal and transitional time. I feel like it could go a lot of ways. There's some days where I can get a little Travis Bickle and be like, I mean, I was literally driving down Sunset one day, and it's all state of mind and where you're at. And like one day I was driving and I was like, this isn't like, I like had this voice in my head doing this like great narration. It was like, this isn't even a town. This is a facade of a movie lot. It's a shadow of a town. It's like, it's a fake veneer of a city. And if you just go behind it, that door goes nowhere. And the old LA is being replaced. And I just went so down the fucking wormhole. And I was driving to my friends in Bel Air to go help possibly move stuff because there was a fire that broke out. And then I got there and I forgot all about it, and I drove back and I was like, I love the city. And
Yeah.
I was doing the Against All Odds drive down Sunset. But some days it's really disheartening, but I will never give up on her.
Yeah.
I love her. I'm not going anywhere. I've done some time in New York. I've lived in London. And look, I mean, it's one of the greatest cities in the world. And to the people that are like, it's decaying, cool, go to fucking Nashville, go to Austin, get the fuck out. Like, if
Yeah,
you don't like
yeah.
it, like, we don't need you.
Right.
Like, the
Right.
people that shit on LA are not from here.
Listen, I couldn't agree more. And I remember when I was moving out from Massachusetts, people were like, you got to be careful. The people out there and all the stupid shit people say about LA, everyone's fake, everyone's this. That's humans.
Yeah.
The same problems that people cite because show business is a public industry.
Right.
It's the same shit at the law firms, at the company picnics.
Yeah.
It's the same.
It's all the
shit.
same politics. It's all the same shit.
It is. At least here, the end product is pretty cool. Unlike a lot of just jobs, like corporate
Yeah, we're not
jobs.
just making paper, right? It's not
Yeah.
just under Mifflin. Like we're like, and also by the way, like, but we're not making stuff right now. So we have to figure that out. We need, like, I have friends that are below the line workers that their lives are being drastically fucking affected, man. Like,
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend the other night who was, a co-star on a great TV show. And I was saying, when are you going to get back out there? Because she had 3 kids. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I am. And I'm going out on auditions. And I'm like, fuck yeah. It's a great time. She goes, it's a terrible time. And I said, well, it's a terrible time in the industry, but it's a great time for you. Because I felt like it was a great time for her in a window. But I do recognize the fact that it is a terrible time in the industry.
Yeah.
And how do you get stuff made? I mean, it's I didn't watch Surf 2 in anticipation of this, but I just did like a quick little Google and was looking up a few things, actor names and little bits and bobs that I should know and don't. And I saw there was a $2 million budget. And I'm like, can you imagine?
I know.
Can you imagine shooting something on 35 mil that is this story
This
and then there's this
insane-
for $2 million? And
Yeah.
like, I feel this like,
Which
you
in
know-
$1984 would, or 83 would be like, what now, like 7 million?
I'm not the inflation. I'm math is like, whoa.
I just always
didn't-
triple it. I go,
Right.
that's at $82.
It's crazy, man. Like, it's amazing. And then, dude, and still I'm like, they fucking made this movie? Like, you really made this fucking movie and this
Yeah.
got financed? But like, I'm not a hater. I just want stuff to keep getting made. And as a father of a son who is a great filmmaker and who wants to tell stories, I'm like, man, like, I mean, it's not the case now, but like, recently in recent years, I was like, if you want to tell stories, you're probably going to have to do it on television. And now even that, they're not making shows, right?
Yeah.
But luckily he's not trying to make Marvel movies, and he's also not trying to make, $20 million movies. He looks at people like Paul Schrader and Jim Jarmusch and goes, that's a great way to make art at scale about something that you love and you're passionate
Mhm.
about. And like, people still make movies somehow, man.
And like if Jarmusch could do that with 16 millimeter for Stranger Than Paradise, in a time where you had to shoot film, you had to do all that stuff. Now the
It's a
technology is
perfect
at a
movie.
place that
Yeah.
even these two phones,
Yeah.
use Filmic Pro or there's another app I can't remember Black Magic
Yeah.
has an app similarly. You could make a movie the way that Steven Soderbergh did. He used I think iPhone 8s or something like that.
I
His
mean,
total gear.
Danny Boyle just did 28 years later on iPhones.
Well, there you go. So I think there might be a strange thing, and of course, there's lots of problems with how do you get the thing out there, how do you fund it, and all that. But I think the available tools are sure a lot better than mid
Absolutely. I
'80s.
mean, look, I think ultimately what this is going to do, the contraction in the industry is going to make it so that, it's killed the middle class just as the music industry and streaming has done so with bands and artists. But I think what'll happen is that personal stories will get told. And like, as my friend and film producer for my work said the other night, she's like, the one thing that AI can't do is come up with original personal stories
Yeah,
and voice and I think that we're gonna be all right. But what all right looks like,
yeah. We don't know
whether
yet.
it's talking about LA, the country, the world, the planet, it's all a little bit up in the air right now. But
I do think LA is a microcosm of a lot of things, and the film
yeah,
industry as well, because that's I don't know if it was the nation's greatest export, but at least culturally,
that's what we exported to the world, man, and we
yeah,
still do. It's culture.
yeah.
We really do.
The Clash came to America, and John Wayne was in their heads. All this stuff, the American mythos,
Yeah,
and that's from film.
yeah. Surf too.
Surf too. Well, I
Let's
was
do
going to
it.
say, yeah.
It's
Speaking of great American films,
kind of like how we met. Like I
that
think,
is how we met.
yeah, we
Yeah,
bonded over Surf too.
we were at a screening of Over the Edge.
It was, huh? That was the
Yeah.
first time I saw it.
Oh, really? Amazing. What did you
Yeah.
think of it?
It was more than I expected.
It is, right?
It was
Yeah.
I was expecting just a kid that tells another kid's a dead kid. I was expecting needle drops, a cheap trick, and Alice Cooper and the sort of, ephemera and just fun, just like,
High
fucking
school.
sprinkles and frosting of my childhood and the stuff that all the older kids loved. But what I didn't realize is it was going to be shot like Days of Heaven or Badlands, and that it was this beautifully, like the shot when they go out the window and the kids, and I'm like, it's a gorgeous film,
Hmm.
and it's not exploitive.
Not at all. And it's very meaningful. It has so much power to it, and it has a lot to say, too, about prefabricated communities,
It's incredible.
what that results in. It almost has, in a way, like Poltergeist when they talk about building over the
Yeah,
Indian burial grounds.
yeah,
And that all sort of ties in, actually, with Surf too, because there's a sort of anti corporatism and
yeah,
certainly anti greed thing. One of my favorite lines is when Eddie Deezen goes, she doesn't know anything about supply side economics.
yeah,
And that stuff's just little Easter eggs tucked into this ostensibly goofy, ridiculous beach party parody movie.
yeah.
But it's nuts. And yeah, we started. I don't know who said it first. I think you did. We were talking about like essentially teen movies
Right.
or like garbage, throwaway 80s
Yeah.
movies. I don't know if we talked about Gimme an F, but have you seen that?
No.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It's about a cheerleading camp.
Amazing.
But it's like a John Waters movie.
Right. Yeah.
And
great.
it was like a negative pickup. The 20th Century
Uh-huh.
Fox, then paid for, and now it's not on home video. And the one of the guys from Cagney and Lacey is a cheerleader instructor. So
That sounds good.
and we were talking about that, and then Surf 2 came up, and it happened to have just been released on Blu-ray.
Which I subsequently bought, but have not cracked open. But it is right there on my shelf as like, holy shit. And it was very exciting when it came in the mail. Thank you for hipping me to that.
More than
I
my
have,
pleasure, yeah.
so I don't collect a lot of things. I collect a couple of posters that are special and meaningful. A lot of T-shirts that are meaningful from films. And
What's your two favorite or prized T-shirts from films?
Slam Dance, the Tom Holtz, I think it's Wayne Wang who directed it,
Mhm.
and it says Slam Dance on the front, and on the back it says, it's not about dancing.
That's right, yeah.
And the Avenue Pictures, which was the distribution for Drugstore Cowboy, so it was like a promotional shirt. It's like real, not a bullshit one. And the Repo Man one that says only an asshole gets killed for a car.
Oh, that's amazing.
on the back, and
I
it's
didn't know
got
you had
the
that.
logo.
That's great.
Oh no, of course, yeah. Like,
I got the press kit in the other room.
that's amazing. Oh, as far as press kits, I have the most incredible press kit ever. I mean, I have the
Really,
press.
I have moment by moment. So
I have. Okay, so this is deep.
hit me.
I don't have the press kit. I have the production book of Valley Girl.
Wow,
So
amazing.
it is a 3-ring binder black notebook like you would have a Trapper Keeper.
Yeah.
That has the budget,
Wow.
that has all of the receipts, that has the call sheets, everything that was it's the Bible of the. It has, here's what Nicolas Cage was paid, here's his address at his apartment in Hollywood. It has everything, and that is probably the most important movie of my life. So having the Valley Girl production book is more important than all the lobby cards that I have.
Sure.
Only one hangs in my room, and it's Frederick Forrest.
One from the heart.
No, from Valley Girl.
Oh, I forgot Frederick Forrest was in that.
He's the dad.
That's right.
And he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and he's smoking a joint in it. That's in my room.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, I got some good t-shirts. But Surf 2, I have the poster, which is the larger of the sizes. It's an odd size.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's huge. And I showed it to my friend Melissa Paul, whose dad plays either Bob or Chuck's dad.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Chuck's dad, I think.
Yeah.
I just happened to do a quick skim over That's
and
amazing.
When I met her when I was on tour in Barcelona, my friend who was playing drums with us at the time was like, "Oh, my friend Melissa's gonna come." And two things happened. One, she sat down at lunch, and I was like, "I know you. I saw you at a Halloween party once, and you had the best Halloween costume I've ever seen." And she's like, "Which one was it?" And I said, "Lesbian stand-up comic from the 80s." And she had like a mullet, and she had a sort of 80s sport coat with the sleeves pushed up, with the shirt coming down.
Yeah.
And
somehow still folded over at the
like a little lapel pin. And she was going around telling bad jokes and didn't have a brick wall behind her, but maybe. Like, it was really good.
Yeah, you could see it, a phantom brick wall.
And when we got along around to talking, she mentioned that her dad was an actor. I said, "Oh, blah, blah, blah. And, who is he?" And I looked him up, and I was like, "Your dad was in Surf 2." And she's like, "You know Surf 2?" And I was like, "Dude, I just got the poster."
I think that's how it came up. You were like, "Well, did you know Surf 2?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, it just came out on Blu-ray."
Yeah.
And then instantly we were like off to the races talking about it.
So let's talk about Surf 2.
Well, I was going to say, when's the first time you saw it? Because it clearly made a big impact on you. And I'm guessing you saw it in the theater?
I feel like, and like lately I've, which is ironic because I started, it sounds like such an asshole thing, but I'm starting to eke out pages on a book. But what's interesting about that is even in the beginning, I'm saying I am probably the worst and most unreliable narrator in my own story. Because as I get older, I don't know what is a story I've told, what is remembered, what is Uncanny Valley, what is what is not Uncanny Valley. But it is Uncanny Valley. It's the Mandela effect.
Oh, yes.
It's all it's a blur. And COVID, all of it. I think I saw it at a movie theater at Cross Creek Road and Pacific Coast Highway, which used to be next to a Swenson's ice cream parlor and is now some shitty boutique. But so the Malibu Country Mart in Malibu has sort of two sections. One is like the true Country Mart. The other is like this outdoor thing with like a Starbucks and all this. But back in the 70s and 80s, it was like a market. And like beach market, we can get like rafts and like snorkels and, like food to take to the beach. And there was a movie theater that was like a single theater, just one room. And if you were in Malibu, that was the only movie theater.
Oh, wow.
Unless you wanted to go to Santa Monica.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to. We wanted to be in Malibu. And I grew up in the Valley. But my grandpa had a condo every summer in Malibu. So my summers were spent in Malibu, which makes it sound like I was wealthy. But I was not.
Malibu was different, right?
It was a different time.
Yeah.
And like also, my grandpa rented. Like he wasn't like my grandpa was the porn guy who had a lot of cash but no real assets. So he rented. We rented in Malibu, and because I was a summer kid there, I was definitely like, you're a Val, but you're a summer Malibu kid.
Yeah.
But I was not by any means an owner. So I think that I saw it there.
Mhm.
I would have been, what year is it?
84 it got released.
I'm 11, for sure saw it there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, they see a movie, they leave a surf movie, and that is in Santa Monica.
Yeah, I was wondering where that is.
That's in Santa Monica.
Okay.
And that theater, I've not done the research because one of the things that is the most obsessive thing in my life is I only watch a few TV shows.
Mhm.
One is The Rockford Files, one is Quincy,
What about Columbo?
and Columbo.
By the way, you know who else loves Columbo?
Huh.
Pete Townsend, and we were DMing about that
That's
during the pandemic.
crazy.
He was like, "Oh, I just watched whatever episode."
Well,
anyway,
the pilot episode's directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
And it's really one of the most amazing things ever. But yeah, so I believe that the movie theater they went to was,
is it the Coral?
I don't remember, but it was sort of over there by kind of like by like Surfside Liquor or one of those places. And so it's
I'm actually
it's,
pulling up my photos because I took a screenshot of it. I mean, like a photo.
oh really?
Yeah, because I was like, "Oh, that's so good."
Watching Night Moves the other night at the Egyptian, there was a great thing called the Magnolia Theater. And after I was talking to Spencer and Matt about it, we were talking about the movie theater. I go, "Oh, it was in Burbank. It's no longer there." But I was like, because I knew they had a question about it, I was like, I looked it up like 6 months ago when I watched it on Amazon Prime. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theater at 11 years old, just going with some buddies because it's playing on a Friday night and it says surf.
Yeah.
And the worst thing ever when you talk to someone about surf 2 is the inevitable.
Well, where's Surf 1?
Exactly. Which if you watch the trailer, which I hadn't maybe ever,
Yeah.
they said the end of a trilogy.
Yes, it's the best,
which
isn't
is
it?
incredible.
It's so good. Yeah. I think I found out about the movie maybe through Video Movie Guide.
Okay.
And
What's that?
It was like this Bible of all the different videos that were available.
Okay.
And they had a new one every year, and I was
Okay.
obsessed with it. And I think pages were falling out because I'd get one every
Yeah.
year, but I'd be like constantly. And
Yeah.
anytime they had a bomb, no, it was a turkey. It was their bomb. I was like, "Ooh, what's that?"
Have to see it.
Have to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Moment by Moment was a turkey. Sergeant Pepper,
Yeah.
turkey.
What's Moment by Moment?
Oh, it's Lily Tomlin and John Travolta in a romance picture directed and written by Jane Wagner.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's and produced by Robert Stigwood.
Wow.
So yeah, a whole lot of heterosexual not going on there.
Wow. Yeah.
Actually, and he produced Times Square, and he had
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lesbian undercurrent stuff
Yeah.
removed. But
Wow.
I know I'm a huge obsessive Robert Stigwood
Yeah.
fan. Yeah, so I read about it. I think there had the turkey, and then I don't know how I found out about that there was no Surf 1.
Yeah.
But I was obsessed with that. I thought that's the greatest,
It's the coolest fucking thing ever.
Yeah, and I don't know. I must have rented it before I bought that tape.
Yeah.
And I copied it. I was like, "This is incredible!" And I'm like, "Oh my god, Eric Stoltz is in this." And
Yeah.
Corinne Bohrer, who
Yeah. She's
love.
amazing.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's in this. She's in Joysticks.
Yeah.
She's in a whole slew of things.
Yeah. 80s TV, later, 90s and 2000s mom roles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in that Martin Short. What's the woman that's married to Michael McKean? I can't remember her name right now.
But Tom Villard is the real
Tom Villard,
prize.
yes.
Like
Yes.
Tom Villard. So for those watching who don't know, Tom Villard was a really, really, really funny sort of comedian who had a great sort of physical nature about his face and his expressions. He was a really good looking, like handsome guy with curly dark hair and like really interesting looking and just wonderful.
Yeah.
And he did a couple of like TV movies or like smaller things. And he was on
Was he on Bosom Buddies? I don't know.
no,
why I
he
keep
wasn't
thinking
on
that.
Bosom Buddies. He was on a show called We Got It Made.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he
so-
was guest star on, I'm just pulling
Yeah.
it up. He's in Grease 2 as well.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Tom Villard plays Jocko, right? Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jocko what's his? Hold on.
Yeah.
Because it's such an odd name.
Yeah.
Jocko O'Finley.
It's a great, yeah. Oh, Finley is the best. Yeah.
It's so good. Come on, O'Finley.
Come on, oh, Finley.
Didn't I
So-
tell you to put the fruit juices by the gay magazines?
Yeah.
How did it work out? Okay,
Yeah.
so what are you complaining for?
Yeah. So brilliant. So Jocko, Tom Villard was a great actor and one of the early people in the mid-90s. He died in 1994 of pneumonia of AIDS-related illness, but he was like, he came out Like,
Yeah.
and he came out and he was very vocal about
On
his,
Entertainment Tonight.
I know, I read that
Yeah.
in preparation for this, but I do remember going, oh my God, we lost him, and how tragic that was. Cause that's one of the defining things about our age was, if you really look at our generation, I mean, it was the threat of nuclear war and it was AIDS. And those
Yeah.
are the two. And so earlier when we were talking about the orange sky and To Live and Die in LA and
Yeah.
Night of the Comet, one of the things that was underscoring it that I was going to mention, and I forgot to because we got on a tangent, is something running underneath the 80s stuff is always either it's the threat of nuclear war.
Yeah.
It's in Repo Man. It's all like it's always there.
absolutely, yeah.
It's in so much of the media. I was looking up is it Badat? Is that, or what's his name?
Oh yeah, I think it's Badat. I think Randall Badat.
Right, or however it pronounces it. So he did a reboot of, or not reboot, or sequel of War Games.
Oh God, that's right. Yeah.
Which I looked that up today. But what's interesting,
And the Richard Grieco film. What was it?
oh,
Born
yeah.
to
a Richard Grieco vehicle is definitely not one you want on your resume. But what's crazy is in looking him up and seeing that he did this War Games Dead Code or something, what was super interesting was like, that's another one, man. The threat of thermonuclear war. Like War Games was a big one when we were kids. And
Huge.
so and also Toxic Waste.
Yes.
And the Toxic Avenger. And this plays into that.
Yes.
Because there's an element of trauma in
Mhm.
this, right? Because
Yeah.
that was another big video store thing when I was a kid. You too, is the
Yeah.
trauma stuff.
Definitely.
But like, there's so much. It's so smart, this movie. There's so much satire. It satisfied the producers that it got the requisite boob shots.
Yeah. Well, they put them in.
What do you mean?
Okay, so this is wild.
Okay.
There's a director's cut. I usually love director's cuts. Rewatching it this time, I started with the director's cut because I'd put it on right around the time that we both got it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, maybe whatever. And I think I'd watch the theatrical. There is so much stuff that is beloved from the theatrical that's not in the director's. Even the like belching weird sounds that the zombies.
It's the most important thing.
Yes,
it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is, and the sound,
and they use the loops over and over, so you can hear the cycle of it's like this pattern of this, and it repeats
every time, every single time.
And
like even when the two dads are get put into that road case, it's great. It's just a fucking road case for something around their heads. Or no, they're given the Buzz Cola and they're making all those sounds. They're treated electronically, just like that.
Right.
In the director's cut, that's not there. Also, the beach party is interminably long. Wildly.
In the director's cut?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, in the theatrical cut, and this was a mind blower because I'm watching it going, I know this scene is way longer, but it starts differently. You don't see the two kids out surfing and getting
the night surfing.
In.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that. And that's actually Jocko and his buddy.
Yep.
But it's the same footage used again at the beginning, of course, right? And
there's probably some like day for night and night for, there's some weird shit. There's some all kinds of funky stuff going on. Yeah.
With the water and everything. You're like, that's not the time of day we think it is.
Yeah, totally.
And the beach party is so much better in the theatrical because it's tight. The pace from the jump in theatrical is like
cut
this.
to Boingo. Just
in the director's cut, his original vision, the end credits do not have Only a Lad.
Really?
It's a reprise of 6 weeks or 6 months in a Leaky Boat.
It was a Split Ends.
Split Ends,
Yeah.
great song, but not the end credit song. And then it goes into Talk, which the original. I'll say the original, the theatrical.
Yeah.
It's Only a Lad. This is the movie that turned me on to Only a Lad.
Yeah, I mean,
it's my favorite Boingo song. I think I love so much of their stuff, but something about that song I'll end up hitting repeat. Over and over.
It's really special. I was really breaking down that song when it was on First Wave on Sirius Driving a couple weeks ago, and I was really thinking of because I growing up in LA listening to K-Rock, Oingo Boingo is a very specific LA band. It's huge in our psyche collectively here in Los Angeles, the Valley, Pasadena, Burbank. It's just in your bones. And I was listening to that song and I'm like, this is a fucking crazy song.
It really is.
But there's and also as far as end credits go, Fast Times.
Oh yeah.
The goodbye, 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 like essential.
Yeah.
Like you can't think of the end of Fast Times
without that.
song. But the
Or
other
Somebody's Baby too. That's an indelible moment.
Oh yeah.
It
Which
might be
is so weird that they put Jackson Brown in that movie.
I know.
It just does not fit, and that's just such a Cameron Croweism kind of weird. Yeah,
so weird. It's not quite as bad as Dave Mason in Skate Town, USA. Everyone's excited to see Dave Mason at the big roller rink.
I saw Skate Town USA in the theater.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think in Santa Monica maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, because roller skating was the big thing at the time,
Sure.
and we used to roller skate in front of the hot dog on a stick on the Santa Monica boardwalk.
Oh
no, I didn't see Skate Town USA. I saw Roller Boogie in the theater.
Oh, okay.
Roller Boogie.
Fair enough. 601, etc. That's a great one too.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that the scene is different. So let me ask you.
Yeah. There's another thing about the beach party, but
go ahead.
Oh well, Dick Dale is actually in it. They filmed a scene with Dick Dale playing at the beach party.
That's crazy.
And Jocko sings. He mimes along to like a
in the
50s
director's
song.
cut.
Yeah. So it's worth watching those bits.
Wow.
But especially watching it and then seeing the real version, I'll call it. Because also I remember watching the beach party, I'm like, why does it feel like there's like no one at the beach party? Because of all the inserts that the producers put in of like, of course, just shots of women's breasts and stuff like that.
Yeah, or the big boys getting their wetsuits split. Yes.
And weirdly, that first scene is in the director's cut, but there's way more. You know, at the end when the large boys chase the dads, not in the director's cut.
Interesting.
And other stuff that's not in there. Well, you know, when they're first going to the beach and they're like, Daddy-O says like it's closed, and Chief Boyardee tells
Chief
him,
Boyardee.
Inspector Underwear. That's another great,
incredible.
That's the other thing.
Becker Beaker.
Oh my God, that's so good. All the the stupid jokes, deliberately
great.
stupid.
Yeah.
You ever see Night Patrol?
Maybe.
You would like this. Linda Blair's in it, directed by Jackie Kong, who did Blood Diner, and co-written with Murray Langston, the unknown comic.
Yeah, I didn't see this.
It's so fucking.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin anything. I'll send it to you. It's one of those like gut bucket laughs.
Yeah.
Like, hey kids, if I wanted any shit out of you, I'd squeeze your head.
Incredible line.
It's so good.
When Chief Boyardee comes in the classroom, it's just so great. There's also an element to this film that I feel like movies like Summer School must have seen this because
100%.
It feels kindred.
Yeah. And Corinne Bohrer again in that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, right? Like there's that connection.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think that, so what is the connect, like did The Simpsons talk to me about the Buzz Cola thing?
Yeah, I looked it up once. I didn't look it up recently, but it is absolutely. So folks who haven't seen it, Buzz Cola is a major part of the plot in this. It's the thing that turns the kids into zombies, and that is what the Simpsons based Buzz Cola off of. So that's
and then they actually came out with Buzz Cola.
Yeah.
In the 80s, which to me was mind-blowing because I was like, Surf 2, people were like, what? Oh, no, that was Jolt. That was Jolt.
Jolt, right.
Sorry, that was
that's
Jolt.
Essentially the same
Jolt's
thing.
the same thing.
But they did come out with like a limited edition Buzz Cola.
Of the Simpsons Buzz, right. So the Jolt was like, I was like, this is like Buzz Cola. So for those that don't know, Surf 2 is a movie. There is no Surf 1. It is an incredible movie that is a real glimpse of the beginning of the 80s surf scene in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So you're getting a couple of things, and here's why it's special. And I can tell you this as an Angelino.
Yeah, please.
There is tremendous authenticity in the movie.
Okay.
So if that movie was made like Sean Thompson did the surfing, he was one of the preeminent surfers of the late 70s. You know, they called it like the sort of free ride generation of guys that like were from Australia, because I do surf, and so the guys that came in from Australia with shortboards, and it's a real like you know, Dylan Goes Electric kind of thing. The guys came in with shortboards from Australia. They went over, surfed the big waves of Hawaii with shortboards. And they like made a big stink, and there was Rabbit Bartholomew, there was Mark Richards, there was Sean Thompson, and they changed the face of surfing. And then the Hawaiians locally took it to a whole other level, but the Australians really disrupted it, and Sean Thompson did the stunt doubling.
Oh wow!
Like on most of the surfing. So I haven't gone back and gone like, what beach is that? Usually, if they shot it a movie, it's generally Westward Beach, which is where it's like it's like the backside, like the more secluded area of Zuma. That's where they film
Okay.
Baywatch and a lot of things. Film a lot of stuff there. They do weddings there. I feel like they shot some at Westward. I'm sure they shot a lot of north beaches in LA, and they definitely did some south. But like there's authenticity. So you know, Freddie Snakeskin, Jed the Fish, and the Poor Man were the DJs. And those were the biggest DJs on K-Rock.
Yeah.
You know, 106.7 in Los Angeles, you know, Pasadena, the Valleys, Los Angeles. That was where we learned of the Cure and the Smiths and first heard everything, right? And those are the real on-air jocks doing the radio thing. So you have this element throughout the movie, which is like this Greek chorus thing, like in The Warriors, right?
Yeah,
which,
exactly.
Which is this really cool thing where you hear it and it grounds you to the reality of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
There's also, you know, I forget his name, but the other big dude is a Bao Bao.
Oh yeah. John, a big head, Johnny
Big Head.
Yeah, Bao Bao.
Yeah. So you know, and I love movies where they're like, this character needs a catchphrase. You know, he sort of plays the character in the movie. I call it the Styles, like in Teen Wolf.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like,
that's exactly what it is.
Like
yeah.
every 80s movie needs the cool friend with the catchphrase who maybe has a boombox or sunglasses or some affectation that tells the world he's cool.
Yeah, like
right.
eats cigarettes or something like that.
Yeah. And so this guy is the guy who like, he'll eat anything, you know? So his catchphrase is a bow bow. And my favorite part is when they're eating the seaweed, when the surf zombies are eating the seaweed, he goes, must be from LA.
Yeah.
A bow bow. Which is a real commentary on if you're from the beaches, you don't really fuck with the valley. And Hollywood's gross.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's evidenced in movies like Valley Girl, right? Like that sort of, it's a real divide.
Yeah.
Like one of the greatest pieces of graffiti that you can see in archival photographs is no vowels or vowels go home.
Oh, wow.
Tagged at the beach.
Yeah.
Because to them, like the reason why surfers are dicks is because of scarcity. There's only so many waves.
Yeah.
And if you're at our beach, you're taking the parking, right? You're taking up the sand where we're going to put our towels and our shit. And you're taking our waves. And so not all surfers are dicks, but if there's dicks in surfing, it's generally because of scarcity and localism.
Sure. And dilettantes, they hate them.
Yeah. And also like it sometimes it's dangerous if you get somebody like out in the water, like, you know,
doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah. It's a fucking pain in the ass. And so it's really authentic in that way, and the little things. And, you know, when they pack the car and they go to the beach and they do the parking and I can't find a spot, Johnny Big Head moves the car.
The big RV.
As silly as that is, it's because you can't find beach parking. Anybody that's been to the beach in LA knows all this shit is real. So
again, also great, cheap, fun visual gag. The thing rolls off frame and you hear a woman go, ah, and there's a crash, and then you just throw car parts.
Just throw car parts. And this is how crazy it is. In a very SNL sort of, and I feel like SNL probably did this with Belushi too. Didn't SNL do the Jaws bit?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't they do
Land
this?
Shark and all that? Yeah.
Yeah, well, Land Shark is great, but when they do the autopsy.
Oh, yes.
On the right. So we don't want to give away too much, but basically kids are disappearing, teenagers, and coming back as surf zombies, and all they do is drink motor oil, and generally break shit,
and they bite through stuff. That's a big thing throughout this movie, biting through stuff. Johnny Big Head, it's so great when he bites. So there's a wire fence, and then he
gets the silver paint on his mouth from the. It's so like good. If you know surf too, or when you're like he bites through the chain link fence. And there's silver paint on his mouth. We got one shot. We're losing light. We got to keep going.
Well, on the other angle, we'll wipe it off. It'll be fine. Yeah. And also, and it's not even giving away too much because there's a crawl at the beginning of the film, which is not in the director's cut, which also opens with a stock footage of like the 50s or 60s, early 60s, like beach folks. And there's
when they're talking about in the beginning there was surfing and it was bitching and that whole thing. So they show archival stuff instead of just a Star Wars crawl.
Yeah, no Star Wars crawl, and like kind of an endless montage over the Beach Boys. So the energy starts to
Really?
lag because when they first run to the beach,
Uh-huh.
it's more Beach Boys. Whereas
See, I love the opening.
no, I love the opening
Yeah.
too. It's brilliant.
It's great.
It's
like,
got that new wave weirdness to
it's
it.
and because and because what's amazing is you open up with this crawl and then you're at the beach and the new wave, it's a weird sort of like music hit and cue
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with the rest of the film.
None.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, we need something for the beginning, and then the composer gives you this thing, and it just sounds like a traditional like VHS, like here's a production company card, here's the
Yeah.
blast of music. But then they're surfing, and is it Miserlou that comes on? It's,
Yes. Yeah.
but it's a cover
Weird.
that's
Like a Suicide version. If Suicide was like
Dude.
on like mellow pills or something.
dude. I had to look up who the composer was because I was like, it doesn't sound like some schlocky composer trying to do new wave. It's using the same kind of like drum machines that like Soft Cell and like Suicide and people were using. So primitive drum machines,
Yeah.
really cool sounds, and it's synthy without being cheesy. Because by the way, everything when people think about cheesy new wave in 80s, it happened in 84, 85.
Yeah.
Like it didn't happen in 82, 83.
Right.
82, 83 was fucking cool as shit.
Yeah. It's like when drum sounds got bad, 89, 90. The bad 80s sound is
Yeah.
actually the beginning of
Which
the
I
90s.
love.
Oh, it's great. But
Yeah.
like that whole
OMD
weird.
If You Leave and the
Yeah.
big drums and fuck yeah. Phil Collins.
Oh, I love all that stuff.
Live for
But
that shit.
later when it was like people got sort of like overly picky, like Hall & Oates sort of lost the stuff with Ooh Yeah, like
Yeah.
89, 90.
Right.
But anything in that middle period, I love it.
It was super funky and weird. And you know, it doesn't get any credit. And they really pioneered these sounds before anyone in the mainstream is Eurythmics.
Oh, absolutely.
Like what
Yeah.
Dave Stewart was doing programming wise was super progressive and ahead of its time. He's taken the underground and the soft cell and just,
Oh, totally. Sweet Dreams is basically that. It's like
it's just
that.
the coolest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recorded on an 8-track with one broken track.
It's insane.
But they go from that into the beach. So now it's
And
the
now they're
scene
night
setting.
surfing.
Yes.
And you're like, dudes catching waves at night. You can barely see it. Shot on film so dark and they're night surfing. It's fucking amazing. And then all of a sudden these crazy things happen. They get sucked underwater. You're like, what happened? And then you come to know that this movie is about this, this mad scientist who is seeking revenge on the surfers. They literally say Menlo's
Yeah, they tell you the
Menlo's
whole
revenge.
plot
Tell you
in
the
the
whole plot
crawl.
in the beginning.
The whole thing is
Menlo
there.
Schwarzer.
Menlo Schwarzer, played by the incredible
Incomparable
Eddie Deezen. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
the best, right? Who, by the way, in War Games.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
in the beginning, Matthew Broderick takes Ali Sheedy to the sort of MIT type computer lab.
Yeah.
And he meets the two nerds and they gives him the name of Falcons Games. And he and he goes, Potato Head. Remember when you told me to tell you when you were being insensitive? And he goes, you're doing that. They sort of have a laugh. And there's this really great montage with this incredible score where he's like, how do I figure out something about this guy? And he goes, you guys are really stupid. You don't get it. He goes, it's right. You go right in through the beginning, through Falcon's Maze. And it's this great scene where he tells him. And so Eddie Deezen was known as the nerd in Grease 2.
Yeah, well, in Grease and the original.
Oh, that's right. He was in the original.
Eugene.
Yeah,
It
he was
his-
Eugene.
It was
hey,
his
Eugene.
first movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember that song? Eugene, it was like some weird band in the late 80s. Ace Frehley had something to do with it.
No.
Oh, I'll play it. I'll send it to you later. It's kind of execrable, but he was in that. He was in I Want to Hold Your Hand. So like check the first wave of his career. He's in Grease, then he's in a Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis directed movie.
Yeah.
And then he's in 1941 directed by Spielberg, and then the star of Grease of Surf 2, which
And wasn't Corinne in 41 too? Or no, not Corinne, the other girl who died.
Was she?
One of them.
Lucinda Dooley, I think. Hang on.
Yeah, who
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, someone else was. I believe it was her.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, and also, I just saw Oingo Boingo's name. They wrote a song that's only in this movie. You can. There's a thing on YouTube now of it. But Hold Me Back.
That's the song that I can't find that's driving me crazy.
I just found a copy of it. I'll send it to you. Amazing song. Yeah. And the soundtrack was supposed to be issued on Capitol Records. I'm sure, like me, you searched for it because at the end it says soundtrack available on Capitol Records.
Not available.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, might as well try to find the Ferris Bueller soundtrack back then. Doesn't exist.
Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Ferris Bueller. Wow. So Surf 2 is this great movie where you get surfing and really good surfing, by the way. You get, because people do surf movies horribly. And
What about Point Break? Where's that on the spectrum of surf movies?
I mean, Point Break, I like unironically.
Oh no, me too.
And I also love making fun of it.
Sure.
But I mean, the parts that I like are like, I mean, I love Point Break.
Yeah.
And I have these best friends, this couple who is like my wife and I's best friends. And when we're together, we quote it. But we quote really obscure shit.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Like, Utah, 2. like right as he's ordering the sandwiches before they miss the dead presidents who are doing the robberies, like, I know a place that makes meatball subs the best in town. Like Busey is so amazing in that, his weird awkward pauses that are intentional, and Keanu's musing to himself, staring up at the ceiling, listening to Lori, doing voicemail to Lori Petty. Damn it, why can't I say what I really feel? But I love that movie.
Yeah.
Also had 3 friends in the movie.
Mhm.
One who's since passed on. Chris Pettit, rest in peace, who is also in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Oh, wow.
He plays the kid that sells Johnny Utah some surf stuff, and he goes, "I'll change your life."
Oh, okay.
He's like
yeah.
this cute, and we actually were surf buddies. We used to surf together a lot. My friend Bo Jesse Christopher is LBJ, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or maybe James LeGros, one of them. Actually, I know 4 people in the movie. James LeGros, who's one of the most amazing dudes ever. A newer friend who I love dearly, who is in probably the most important movie of my sort of late teens, 20s, Drugstore Cowboy. And we got together talking at Genghis Khan one night, the night before Thanksgiving. We were seeing a show, and I met him. And after about 10 minutes of talking about other stuff and just getting to know each other, I was like, if you'll allow me, I'm just going to let you know that Eric Edwards, Curtis Clayton, Drugstore Cowboy, and I started going into the production designers, and he's just like, dude, and like, it wasn't like, I like Drugstore Cowboy,
No, it's and it's that thing we were talking about before, where it's like, you are on a certain plane of appreciation, that is similar to the people who are in the thing,
right?
And so you're communicating at a frequency that is not that fanboy thing,
right? I never thought about it in those terms. That's really well said. And I was like, dude, I just want to let you know that movie made me go, yeah, I'm actually gonna make movies. And it was the screenplay, which I still own. It was the production design. I'm like, it's the palette. It's the fact that there's hospital blues and greens throughout the movie, not just in the pharmacies. He's like, dude, the production design. He's like, you know what they went on to do? I'm like, yes. And we were talking about it, and I'm like, Eric Edwards, the cinematographer, and Curtis Clayton, who also cut Buff 66. And like, fuck. And he went in with me. And my friend was like, oh, you guys are fucking crazy. And we just went super deep. And I was like, and I want you to know what's amazing is, my son, who's a filmmaker now, he watched that movie, and when he just did his short, he put the Israelites in it because of it.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, he got so like moved, and we just bonded over this shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he's very self-deprecating. He's like, I've done some cool stuff. I'm like, no, you played Rick in Drugstore Cowboy in one of the most important independent movies of the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Like, that movie was right there with the Sex, Lies, and Videotape. It was a game changer.
Absolutely, yeah.
It really opened the door.
Yeah.
It was Gus's second movie, and it changed everything. I mean, who thought this guy's going to go do Good Will Hunting? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was a cult of us, and we were in this weird little secret of this, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, and it's so cool talking about LeGros. But Point Break, Bo Jesse Christopher, one of the bank robbers, James LeGros, one of the bank robbers, and Chris Pettit, man, and fucking what a great movie. It's ridiculous, but it's great.
In terms of the surfing, how
great surfing?
Yeah, okay,
great
cool.
surfing.
I mean, as someone who
I know one of the stunt doubles, Brad Gerlach, like great pro surfers.
That's a great example of another thing in movies that we were talking about. Like, if something's authentic, you don't necessarily need to know anything about it, but it telegraphs. Like, you know that that's really how they do something.
Yeah, like, when you watch like Back to the Future, like, yeah, like he did the kick and pop the board up, but like, and they probably had like a pro skater show him that, but there's nothing else about the movie that makes you scream authentic. You're like, oh, and like, by the way, when we were kids, when Back to the Future came out and he broke the thing off and he skated on that, it's like he was skating like a Madrid board. It was like a real board. It was like a real company. Like these are things that like, I think it was in Madrid or a Veriflex, but I think it was in Madrid. But the point is like, as a skater, as a surfer, when somebody shows you something cheesy, like there's nothing cringier than when you're watching a movie and they do like a music thing and the guy's playing, you're like, that is not what he's playing on the guitar.
I hate that so much. It'll take me right out. And
Takes
then
you right out.
I get angry because I go, you guys have people that you could take time to help you.
You
with
could take 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. Ask someone who plays guitar, like, hey, you play guitar.
Probably one
here?
of the grips is like, dude, is this a G? Just put your hand on the right thing.
Or the drummer who they don't even like, just do this. Just do that. Yeah. Or they're doing a fill when there's no fill. I hate that.
Yeah, I like it when there's a movie like The Doors where they're playing. You know what I mean?
That's
they're really
cool.
doing
I recently saw a clip on Instagram. Kyle MacLachlan was on, I can't remember what show, but he's playing one of the Doors songs along with.
It's insane. It's hard.
It's really hard. Yeah.
But, there was authenticity in surf too. It's like there's something for everybody. It's just light and fun and it's silly.
And weird.
And
that's
the
other thing.
It's
it's
so
got that
weird, man.
Weird thing that always, draws both of us in.
And it also plays on that thing of Grease. Where in order to be liked, we don't want to give away a secret here, but in order to be liked, like it always really upset me as I got older that in order for sort of Sandra D to become Sandy, she had to do this hot girl makeover and become like leather Tuscadero in order to be loved or of value to where like, she had to sort of go Rizzo on steroids and go leather and hot and tell me about it, stud. It's that sort of awful thing like in The Breakfast Club when it's like, hey, Ali Sheedy, if we just take the dandruff out of your hair and we ungoth you and we put on some eyeliner and make you look super normcore, you're going to be attractive to the jock. It's so gross and repellent.
It's so gross.
It's so fucking upsetting to me because in everything that I consumed in culture as a kid, that was the messaging, but the people that I wanted to be around and found interesting were the people they were taking them away from to make them something else.
Oh yeah, it's the pre-shedding of dandruff Allison. It's the pre-makeup Allison.
I want to hang with her.
Yeah, 100%.
The only authentic and even interesting person. She had no reason to be there.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. She just went there because she didn't have anything
nothing else to do.
Yeah.
She's the most interesting character in the whole fucking movie.
She is.
And they turn her into something that she's not.
Yeah.
It's so fucking gross.
Also super interesting, the janitor and the principal, because I realized the other day that the principal is younger than we are now. He's like 44 or something like that.
Yeah, that's a scary meme when you see that.
Right? It really is.
Well, not principal, the guidance counselor, Ben,
Oh yeah, Paul Gleason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. He's not the principal, but that character is fascinating because he's the distillation of a guy who never did anything that he really wanted to do, and the anger and the resentment.
So angry, such a dick.
Yeah.
And what's great though, it's so funny when you see these like clickbait Facebook or like IG or TikTok things. You're like, did anyone ever notice it in the beginning when you're going through the pictures? Carl the janitor is you're like, yes, we knew.
Yeah.
Because
right.
it's in the first fucking shot of the movie.
Yeah. Right.
And the irony is that Carl still works there.
Yeah. That's why we see him. That's why it's not accidental. They weren't just like just swing the camera past a couple
That's what
things.
happens when you let AI do like a.
Right.
I learned this from a chef.
I like in the people also ask thing where it'll be something like, for instance, is Surf 2 good? Or that's not even the best one, but I love those. It's funny. I put up an Insta story. Hit us up with questions and comments.
Did anybody have anything?
No, because no one knows the fucking movie.
No one knows the movie.
No one knows. I've never brought this up with anyone other than you.
Yeah, no one knows the fucking movie except for Melissa Paul, whose dad played one of the guys. So what's really amazing about it, it's a pop culture feast.
Yes.
It's all there.
Yeah,
music. The music is a banging soundtrack. You get beach parties. You get exploitation and boobs and hot dudes without it being gross.
Yeah.
And it's just silly, and it's not a mean movie, right?
No, it's not.
There's not a mean bone in its body.
And the two girlfriends are the smartest people in the whole film.
Smartest people in the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
And I loved the brunette. I thought she was so cute.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's why, like, when I read today she died, I was so gutted.
It is super sad.
She's so great. So the girls' names are Cindy Lou.
Yeah, and
Lindsay
Sue,
and Lindy Sue.
Lindy Sue. It is
Lindy Sue and Cindy Lou and
and Chuck and Bob, right?
And Chuck and Bob, and the dads are just so funny. And
the dads are the owners of Buzz Cola.
The owners of Buzz Cola.
And they're in league with Menlo.
They're in league with Menlo Schwartzer to
addict them, really.
To addict kids to basically this cola, which we won't tell you what it is, but
yeah.
the hint, the zombies do drink unrefined motor oil.
And they happen to be in like a motor oil. They're like, how come they make
in
that
a
stuff
silo?
at the old refinery?
Yeah, it's so amazing. So it's about pollution.
Yeah.
Which ties into the coastline, which ties into the environmental causes that surfers are usually into, Surf Rider Foundation and clean beaches, right? It ties into corporate greed and these two dads who are just will do anything to make a buck. Ruth Buzzi is in the movie. And Cleavon Little.
I love Cleavon Little so much. That hot dog gag when Becker, is it Becker or Beaker? That's Becker. Becker vomits from the sight of them eating the toxic trash, which was all like glycerin stuff. The Johnny Big Head in the making of was talking about how gross it was to eat all that.
Oh, God.
So foul. And in the director's cut, it's like an endless scene. You get enough,
which is the Jaws throwback where they cut open the wetsuit of the surfer, and it's an homage to when Richard Dreyfuss has to cover his mouth and he's like, opening up the shark to see where it ate and to see what it's doing. And like SNL, they completely lampoon that in a great way.
And it's not tied to an era. Like it's not like all the Saturday Night Fever white suit bits outside of Airplane,
right?
That were awful, like in Soup for One, which is a garbage film. Great soundtrack. That's where Why by Carly Simon. Chic did the whole soundtrack.
Oh, wow.
Incredible soundtrack. Dreadful film. Chic's in it. They're in the background of a luau scene. That's
amazing.
A waste of them, but it's great to. One time, Nile Rodgers tweeted, "Can't sleep. Anyone have any suggestions?" I said, "Yeah, fire up Soup for One." He loved that. I was like, "Oh, that's so good to be able to use Soup for One as get some use out of it." But where was I?
You were saying that it's not dated. It's not
right. It's not dated, and also Becker is almost like Dexter.
Yeah,
like they're at his house, which by the way is just like huge beachfront property.
And he's basically a fucking serial killer.
Yes, he is. He closes the blinds and it's plastic sheeting, and he's got like an operating table right there, like this. You can't see maybe with this mirrored table.
Yeah.
I got this because I was like, this
and he
is
just
LA.
Pulls it off, and here's like it's there's so many good bits in it. It's very funny. There's great surfing. The soundtrack is like unbelievable.
Yeah, let's just run down some of the songs.
Yeah,
wildly. They have the Beach Boys, 3 Beach Boys songs, but then I realized, wait, it was going to be on Capitol Records, and whoever the music supervisor was, I think, was tied in.
Right.
Also, Boingo was on Capitol, I think, so there was something going on there.
I think they were on IRS, which is an affiliate.
No, you're right. You're right. And then EMI America, I think.
Yeah, I'm not
sure.
What
the label that was. But you're right. IRS, I think. Yes. I think I'm thinking of maybe his solo album or something. Anyway, MCA, that's what they turned into later on. They got acquired. But She Blinded Me with Science, Dick Dale, The Deserters. There's the Hawaii Five-0 theme, not done by maybe them. That's another scene. When that happens, in the director's cut, it's just them on the beach. Whereas in the real version, there's those weird, like those like kites in the air, and then they cut to just like jiggling girls. Or no, they cut to... they cut to like these girls sunbathing on the beach, and then one girl gets pulled by her the towel she's laying on.
Okay.
Also, the director's cut, because it's not producer's inserts, is missing that leg gag at the beginning where someone has an accident and the girl just pulls up a leg that's like disconnected from a body.
So ridiculous.
Also not in the director's cut, the bird shitting all over the large boy sandwich.
Most important. Like, I mean, God, when I was 11, I lived for that scene.
And then, of course, he tastes it.
Yeah, because it looks like tartar sauce. Yeah. Which, why would there be tartar sauce on a 12-foot long hoagie
that just appeared from the sky?
Yeah, taste it. Why not?
Taste it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And everyone's barfing. One of the large gentlemen is Fred Asparagus, who played Joe Mama Besser. It's near the end of Spinal Tap. He's one of their many drummers.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That's very cool.
Other songs, John and the Night Riders, who I'm not really familiar with. And of course, Hold Me Back and Only Allowed. Johnny Ray, Cry, which is the song that Jocko sings or mimes to in
Oh,
the
wow.
director's version. And, it is the Ventures version of Hawaii Five-0. Mexican Radio by Walla Voodoo.
Of course. Yeah.
Amazing
Another
song.
staple of the time, which I think that's where I discovered the song, and actually was really important to me because people always ask me, with our band, She Wants Revenge, like they say, oh, is it really Joy Division inspired? I'd say, yes, for sure. Bauhaus saw that we listened to a lot more New Order, a lot more Cure, a lot more Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
But when I did the vocal for Tear You Apart, I thought, God, like, this is so Mexican radio. And I was like, or Fred Schneider.
Yeah,
and so
they're very similar. They could play
Yeah.
brothers in a road movie, Stan Ridgway
Yeah.
and Fred Schneider. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah.
And of course,
he
he did the not the theme song, but the one vocal song in Rumblefish with Stuart Copeland.
Interesting. I didn't realize that. Like Rumblefish is definitely one I saw back in the day, but it's not. I don't have a lot of like experience or knowledge around
I
it.
think if you rewatched it, you'd be really happy with it.
I think so.
Yeah, I got to see it at the New Bev in one of the weirdest double features of all time because
Okay.
William Smith plays the cop. He's also Clint Eastwood's rival in Any Which Way But Loose.
Wow.
Or no, the sequel, Any Which
Any
Way
which way
You
you
Can.
can. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw that and
crazy.
Rumblefish on the same
That's
bill.
a weird double.
It's
Yeah.
fucking weird double bill.
Yeah.
And that is an interminably long movie with the same punching sound effect every time they do. It's not Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Ruth Buzzi, Biff Maynard as Bob said. Apparently, he was a bit of a drinker on the film. Terry Kiser.
Okay, I got good Terry Kiser stories.
Please hit me.
So when I moved from the valley to the top or bottom of Laurel Canyon when I was just turning 15.
I love that you've lived in every known cool like legendary place.
Laurel Canyon was definitely a very important place for me. I lived in Laurel Canyon from 15 to 23.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And first with my parents and then with a girlfriend at the top of Laurel Canyon. Went from the bottom of Laurel to the top of Laurel. And it was a great place to be making music, to be a creative person. Also like so inspired by everything from like Arthur Lee and CSN and Joni Mitchell and everything from the Canyon, the Doors. And so like living there as a kid was a big deal. I mean, I grew up with my childhood best friend living in the Joni Mitchell R house that Graham wrote about that was Joni just let them rent, like literally like, hey, we want to rent this place. And they rented it for like 40 years.
Wow.
Until one day she's like, hey, I need that place. Can you imagine?
That's crazy.
So I grew up in the R house hanging out. So when I moved to the bottom of Laurel, it was still deep on the hill, up in the hills above Fairfax. And it was like this beautiful home that sat like on this like hill. And my stepdad lived there. So when we moved in with my stepdad, it was really cool. And he's like, oh, you know who lives across the way? He's like Terry Kiser. I'm like, who's that? He's like, Bernie, Weekend at Bernie's. And I was like, wow. So when you were in my driveway, you could see this beautiful view of the city and you could see Terry's hill and our hills were parallel to each other.
Yeah.
You couldn't see anything else. And so this great party trick that I like to do from my bedroom balcony was when I would have friends over or girls over and I'd see Terry in the neighboring yard, I go, watch this. And I go, hey, Terry. And he'd go, and that's a real wave. This is the Weekend at Bernie's wave. And they'd be like, holy shit, that's Bernie. And I'm like, it's Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
So I live next door to fucking
Bernie.
Yeah. And down the street.
Or sorry, why can't I remember the name? It's like it's
not Madoff, but it sounds like that.
It sounds so made up.
Yeah,
It's like
it's,
it sounds like when you're doing a cold read on something
Yeah.
and the grammar's all fucked up.
Yeah.
And you just go, Flannery. No, it's
What
not
is his
O'Flannery.
name? You got to know that.
Yeah, it's O'Finley.
What?
It's his name in Surf 2 in this.
Oh,
O'Finley.
no. I thought you were saying Weekend at Bernie's.
What is his name? Let's look that up. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. It sounds like Bernie Madoff or something. It's got to be something
right.
like
I wonder how rough that shoot was for him.
Oh, it's got to be brutal.
It's got to be
a lot of physical stuff.
And being like
Yeah.
playing dead, really.
Because that's a classic full name. It's like, that's a great one to sign into hotels under.
Bernie Lomax.
Bernie Lomax is a great name.
Great name.
Oh my God. I
Classic
got to like
name.
get bernielomax@gmail.com. I'm going to get that.
Gonna make business cards up.
Yeah.
Yeah, drop them at drop them at
good.
like lounges.
No, so O'Finley, he's great in it. So
Oh, and he's in. I was trying to remember what else he was in that was great. He's not in it for long, but he's in Looker, and as the
Which
commercial
one is-
director, and
which
they're
one
on the
is-
beach. I'm watching him on the beach taking the photo, going girls. At the end, I go, why is this reminding me of something? There's a scene in Looker where there's a volleyball thing.
I don't
going
know
on.
Looker.
Oh my God, you would love it. Michael Crichton, 1981.
Oh wow.
Things about things that are relevant today. Again, corporatism and stuff.
Yeah.
James Coburn, Albert
Really?
Finney, and Susan
Ooh.
Day,
Holy shit.
and the modeling industry.
That's insane. Oh my God. I'm
You're gonna love it. Yeah.
no, that's the first recommendation. I'm like, I have to watch this immediately.
Posters behind the Times Square poster over there. I'll show you afterwards. Yeah, Michael Crichton. It's incredible.
I have to write this down.
It's so good. He's also in Making Love, that kind of pivotal movie. He's in Six Pack. I wanted to see Six Pack in the theater when it came out, but my brother was like, absolutely not. And he took me to see MASH. I saw that at 6 years old.
Whoa, that's amazing.
But anyway, yeah, and he's in Mannequin 2 on the Move. Of course.
There you go.
Yeah. Ruth Buzzi, and then also Ron Palillo, Horseshack from Welcome Back, Kotter, is Inspector Underwear.
He is. Underwear.
Can I
Wait.
frisk them just a little bit?
It's incredible.
Underwear, dust the beach for Prince.
He goes, dust the beach for Prince. Just go. It's so incredible.
And Lyle Waggoner, who plays
Chief Boyardee.
He was on the Carol Burnett show, and then he was in Wonder Woman as Steve Trevor Jr. But the most fascinating thing about him is, and you probably know this product or this entity, he founded Star Wagons.
Really?
Yeah, for those
That's
who don't
crazy.
know, the what would you call them? Like the dressing rooms, portable. There's a
Trailers.
name for them. Thank you. I'm just forgetting every word right now. I guess they're deserting me. He created that.
It's the preeminent trailer company where you would have talent for a music festival, for a movie, for anything. It's a kitchen, a bathroom, a changing room, and it's Star Wagon. That's amazing.
He realized he should do that when he found out how much whatever movie was on, how much the company was renting those for the week. So he went and bought a fleet of them, and he sold the company eventually for $222 million. And
That's
his sons
amazing.
are still the managing partners.
That's so amazing.
It's incredible.
I love that.
I love stories like that. Hal Needham had stuff like that too.
Really?
He invented some like the camera car type thing. It has a name to it. I can't remember. But he came up with a way that it had all these jib arms and stuff. So
Oh wow.
people could really be driving their car and they could be swinging
That's
the camera
amazing.
over. I can't even remember. I'll send you the interview, but
Interesting side note about Star Wagons is when Sean Penn did Fast Times at Ridgemont High, he made them take off Sean Penn from his trailer door and put on Jeff Spicoli.
I love that.
He did the entire movie in character,
That's
fully
amazing.
method, wouldn't respond to Sean. You had to call him Jeff on set.
And of course, Eric Stoltz in that as well.
There it is, tied
Yeah.
in, which ties into our conversation about Gala and
Yes.
Avery. And
And
people say killing Zoe. Does he
Killing
say Zoe
right?
or Zoe?
I can't remember. I've heard it so many times that I automatically, as I'm saying it every time right now,
Yeah.
I go, Zoe, and I'm like, is it Zoe or Zoe?
I say Zoe.
I'm sorry, Ada, that we're talking about this movie. That movie came out, and everyone she knew was like, oh, Killing Zoe, because her other name is Zoe.
Who's that?
Ada. Ada's
Oh.
middle name is Zoe,
Yeah.
and sometimes people will call her
Yeah.
Zoe, and so that's why I know it's Zoe.
So
I think it's because people can't. Sorry, I think it's because people don't understand the word when they see it, so they go Zoe.
it's so crazy, and he won't correct people.
I know.
So I've seen people go, I saw an interview with him on Instagram the other day. They said, in Killing Zoe, that shot where he looks in the camera and the magic, and it's an incredible, one of the best parts of the film, I think, when he does that poof, the magic trick in the fire. And he goes, in Killing Zoe, and he said that, and I go, this pretentious knob is calling it Zoe. And maybe he just didn't know that it's clearly Zoe, because if you...
They say it in the movie, right? It's been a while since I've seen it.
I can tell you this.
It's been a
no
while.
one in the movie calls her Zoe.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's
like no one,
Zoe.
because it's no one's name.
Even if
no
it
one is
doesn't
named
have a
Zoe.
Y,
Yeah.
or like it doesn't matter if there's two O's, one Z-O-E, like doesn't matter. That
No.
is Zoe.
It is Zoe, yeah.
So I just, okay, so
and I
yes.
started saying it now because I've heard so many fucking people
So
say
many
it.
people say Killing Zoe, and I'm like, geez, that's insane.
I know. And that, as I say it, I go, that's not right.
Yeah.
But it's locked in there now.
It's
I'm gonna
locked in
try
there.
I'm going to try to work against that.
I know.
There's a new version of it, or new preservation restoration by Peter NC-17 and his partner Lincoln for Scanners Inc. And they scan original prints.
Oh, wow.
So he found a European print, I think Italian print, because that was printed on the right stock. In America, they printed it on Fuji, and it screwed up the color palette.
Which is interesting, because I love the colors. I saw it in the theater. I love the colors.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's even better as the creator intended. But I mean, that movie, you know, I was debating this movie with Spencer the other day because I was just being contrary. But like after when I saw this Avery interview about it with the guy in question talking about the magic realism square and pulp and the fire when he looks in the camera, and I love moments like that in movies, and I do think that The Killing Zoe is a special movie. Because I really love Eric Stoltz and Julie Delpy. And who's the French actor he was in? He was great.
You know, I'm going to look that up.
One of my favorite lines in movies of the last 50 years, he goes, when he just high and looks at him and goes, I have ads from the needle. And it's like, it's such a dark thing where they're all high, you know, because as one does when you're robbing banks, you shoot heroin.
It's good for performance.
You shoot heroin, you might have, you know, unprotected anal sex with your buddies. You shoot heroin and you fucking rob a bank. And wear a very cool like fox mask or whatever.
It's just what you do when you're in France.
It's what you,
yeah.
You know, you live life. You're the French people. You
don't get so hung up about the bread and stuff. You eat. You go do
with the
that.
flow,
Yeah.
and that's truly joie de vivre. But
it's Jean Hughes Anglade.
He's great. And that's like a really fun movie that I need to go back and watch.
By the way, in terms of people in movies doing heroin before something, and you go, this is not a right match. In Sharky's Machine, Henry Silva plays the crazed killer.
Okay.
And before he does a hit, he takes this huge amount of heroin. And then he's like, it's and like no one could have been like, hey, Bert. But I guess he wouldn't listen, probably.
Bert wouldn't listen to anybody or anything.
No, thanks a lot, kid. Yeah. His shit with PTAs.
Unbelievable.
It's unreal. And Tom Richmond was the cinematographer on Killing Zoe.
Yeah.
I talked to Roger about that. And he said, you know, Tom Richmond did some of the like insert shots in Repo Man because Robbie Mueller did not believe in insert shots. He would say like, there's only one way to shoot this. And then the producers would be like, no, do that. And so we can do cut-ins. And he'd say, no, there's one correct way to point the camera. And I know that way.
Amazing and so cool. And I was like, I talked to him and a bunch of people talked to him about before and after the movie. And like, it was really cool and special. And so I was very stoked that I could help put on like and give some Repo Man trivia and fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I'm sure it was great for him too.
He got to show his teenage daughters his like, and I don't know if you know this. I mean, well, you do because you've talked, you know, Alex, but like that movie was supposed to be Dick as the lead. He was supposed to be Otto, and he basically like I think wrote that movie with Alex.
Yeah, he did. He did a lot. He contributed a great deal.
Yeah, I mean, because he was the one living the life. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
Not a Repo Man like Alex had been. Like the LA punk rock thing. Like this is, you know, these were the dudes.
Yeah, they were. What band was he in?
Well, Dick Rude was in Two Free Stooges,
right?
Which was, you know, the offshoot of him and Keith from Circle Jerks and Xander from Circle Jerks. But I mean, it's all connected.
And then Juicy Bananas, which is one of the greatest band names ever. And Bad Man is just...
Bad Man's the best. I can't tell you how many, like recently somebody was saying to me, they were like,
welcome to the Repo Man Movie Club.
Yeah, totally. I mean, fucking called bullshit on that. Managing bands, no job for a man.
Here we go. An ordinary person spends his life avoiding tense situations. A Repo Man spends his life getting into tense situations.
There it is.
So good.
Yeah. Great lines.
Great lines. Yeah. What else more is there to say about Surf 2?
I think we've said it, man.
I think we said it. And let's just talk about the location because I pulled that up because while you were saying that, I thought that sounds familiar. But of course, you know, I don't have even a fraction of the experience around Los Angeles that you do.
You have filming locations pulled up?
Yes, they're in here. And also, the script was written in 2 days when Badat was recovering from a surfing accident that split his cheek open.
Whoa.
So he was on loads of Demerol.
No fucking way.
And he was at a party with industry folks. And he was already a client he said a pocket client of an agent at CAA. And he was working for Tony Bill.
Wow.
And Tony Bill liked his early scripts, and then he was working as an assistant and projectionist for Tony Bill.
That's crazy.
I love those old stories. I'm like, when the guys would give someone a chance, and they'd be like, "You can be my projectionist.
Yeah.
You'll have a thing, and you
That's
keep live in the
crazy.
pool house or whatever it would be."
Yeah, like it's like the Harold and Maude script. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Colin Higgins, right?
Yeah.
Same Foul Play, and then Best of the Whorehouse, right? 9 to 5. So he was on
He wrote
Demerol.
9 to 5.
Yeah,
Wow.
wrote and directed it.
Crazy.
Isn't that insane?
That's super crazy.
It's so crazy. His filmography is just unbelievable. It's another sad loss to AIDS. I think they were discussing a sequel to 9 to 5,
Wow.
and then he passed, and they said, "Well, how are we going to do that?"
Yeah.
So, Demerol, and he was thinking about Frankie and Annette Go to Hell. It was the thing, and then the original.
He did it.
Yeah, he did. The original title was Surf Death, the movie.
Oh my god!
But then it all went through changes. But where is the? Oh, and also, did you notice Arista Films? I was like, Arista Films. Is that?
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm trying to find the location. Okay, Surf 2 was filmed in 29 days during the summer of '83. Throughout Venice, Malibu, Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach, and Manhattan Beach, with interior shots in Culver City, and also the Buzz Cola factory was at an abandoned waste treatment plant in El Segundo.
Yeah, so the El Segundo, that's definitely El Porto. So it's funny because being a surfer, there's El Porto is a beach in the South Bay that is like a straight shot down like Rosecrans, and you take it all the way and you hit the water, and to the right is Manhattan Beach, to the left would be Palos Verdes, PV, but straight on is El Porto. And there is a famous break there that they call shit pipe, because that waste treatment of the pipe that goes out, and literally you'd surf around the shit pipe. And so that is an actual surf break. So that tracks it makes sense that that's El Porto, because it's very industrial right there. It's right by the airport. And it makes sense there's some South Bay. Did it say Malibu too?
Yeah.
Malibu, Santa Monica, Redondo, Hermosa, so all that.
Yeah, Manhattan Beach, and
the movie theater could have been South Bay.
Okay.
I think it was Santa Monica. That looked really Santa Monica.
It's too bad I took a photo of it, but I can't. It's on the phone, so oh well.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's lost. Coral. I believe it's Coral Cinema, and it says surf movies tonight.
It's so great.
Yeah, it's so good. And then there's sound effects and stuff in the director's cut. Not there. So just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah. Rewatch the theatrical first, though, just to get that vibe and buzz. No pun intended, I guess. But thanks so much for joining me.
This has been amazing, dude.
Yeah, I've loved this so much. Yeah, we'll have to do another one sometime.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Awesome. Thank you. This is a great deep dive, and you're inspiring. You know so much, and your passion for all of it is really infectious. And when I met you at the New Bev, I was like, oh, wow, he's a real cat. He knows his shit. And so it's fun
sweet.
being surrounded by it and talking it. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, I feel the same about you as well. And this has been such a fabulous conversation, inspiring. And also, you've given me glimpses of the California that I've always been obsessed with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From Massachusetts, reading about stuff and putting stuff together and being like, oh, wow, that's this. Also, another Repo Man thing. One of the most amazing things to me, we're talking about locations, watching that on repeat as a kid, and then coming out here and knowing where the Orpheum Theater is, and not seeing it for a long time in between, and then going, oh, I know where this is, or Fox's, especially because I was living in North Hollywood then, and I love Fox's. And Jodie Foster.
Oh, the
Cherie
movie.
Curry.
I thought you were talking about the diner. Fox.
No, I didn't know there was a diner.
Oh, Fox's I saw on a double bill with, I think it was out Over the Edge.
Oh my God.
Was that a double bill? I feel like.
Oh wait, no, they did another one. No, it was Suburbia, wasn't it?
Yes, it probably was.
I was there too.
Fox's is a whole other thing. Like, man, like I'm looking for the right poster from my house. I haven't found the one that I want yet in the region and everything. But that was a really big one for me as a kid, because that was actually super tragic, and really that movie really bums me out.
That is a heavy fucking movie.
It's a heavy fucking movie.
It has so much to say about.
Is it Adrian Lyne?
Yes,
of course it is.
Yeah, all the smoke.
Yeah,
it's so great.
Yeah, Hayes and Sad Girls. He's the best.
Who else could it be?
Yeah.
And in the commentary, he goes, "Oh, I haven't seen this movie in so many years. I've probably since it came out." And then he proceeds to prove that.
Yeah.
He has nothing to say.
It's fucking incredible. Sally Kellerman. That movie is gutting.
It is, and also all the Casablanca stuff in Randy Quaid's
Dude, when
house.
I hear the opening piano on the radio, I could cry. Like,
Yeah.
and it takes me back to being a kid because that movie was like a real cautionary tale fucking movie.
It is. And
Yeah.
Cherie Curry is so fucking amazing
Amazing
in
in it, dude.
Amazing.
Amazing. It's so, and recently when I rewatched it in the theater, I was just like, I was going to take my son and then he didn't come. And I'm like, I'm so glad he didn't come. He'd be so bummed. Although he loves dark movies. But I didn't realize that I don't want to ruin it for people, but the car crash,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
is in Griffith Park by the golf course
No
going
way.
through Griffith Park. It's like, yeah. So it's like when you like leave, it's around the edge of the golf course, kind of off of Victory as you're going into Los Feliz.
Oh, okay. I know what
And
you're
I was
talking
like,
about.
I lived there for 17 years and I was like, oh my God, that's where that happened with a couple. It's so fucking.
Also, when she's on the payphone and like there's the entrance to the freeway, I think the one-on-one, and I was like, oh my God, that like I recognized
it's classic
everything.
Valley too.
It really
classic
is.
Valley.
It really is.
That with that movie is how that and the Brady Bunch and like Emergency and Adam 12, but Fox's shows, like that was what my childhood looked like in the San Fernando Valley.
That's
the
amazing.
Haircut, the girls, the music, Machio, all of it. That is what I grew up in.
Yeah.
I really, because that was also like that was my spot, man.
And how amazing that a British guy is the one that. Well, and also there's a
course
long
it
story.
is.
We should do a piece on it sometime. But the guy who wrote it has a really interesting story, and it's sort of based on his daughter and her friends. I think his daughter was the Jodie Foster.
Oh wow, that's heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
A lot of fun stuff on that. But we'll close out
Yeah.
on the Surf 2 Movie Club with that. Oh, and the other location. I was on the street once because I was doing some freelance thing. And 3 doors down or something was the Cassavetes, Jenna Rollins' house. And the one location that I would love to have a photo in would either be in front of it or in the bar. Because that's in every single one of the movies.
Yeah.
And that incredible bar. But all right.
Great bar. I'm telling you, man, if you want to see some, if you know, when you are away from Los Angeles, if you need nostalgia,
yes,
watch Columbo.
Oh, yeah.
And watch the Rockford Files.
Oh, okay. That's a good
because
point.
Jim Rockford lives in a trailer in the parking lot by the sand in Paradise Cove on the Rockford Files.
Oh, wow.
And every episode is like, I remember, oh my God. And it's if you want to know what LA looked like back then, Columbo's great. But Rockford Files covers more ground per episode.
Sure.
A lot of interiors in Columbo. Rockford Files, you're like, great car chases, fight scenes. But by the way, every bullet is the ricocheting one from the Western still. They still use...
Same, yeah.
It's brutal, man.
I love that. It's so funny. And then, of course, last note, Body Double, the Tower Records. It was closed by the time I got here. But when they turned it into a Supreme, I was like, oh, that was that shell of that. I'm sure you went there when it was like all black walls and they had the video room at Tower Records, the one that's in Body Double. I'm sure you went there.
To Tower Video or Tower Records?
Well, in the movie, it's Tower Records, and then it has the video. Or maybe it was Tower Video. I don't know.
Tower Video was across the street, and it's over by where Book Soup was, kind of.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I forget exactly where Tower Video was, but a lot of people I knew worked there. Tower Records, I spent a lot of time there.
Then maybe they use the exterior because they show the outside, he walks in. And
I'll have to go back. I haven't seen Body Double in a while, and I've been threatening to show it to my son because he loves Blowout. Like, that's our movie.
Then forget it. He'd love.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about the Blowout.
And then how much does the lead guy look like Bill Maher?
It's insane. It's totally fucking crazy. It's crazy. He later did a pop song.
Oh God, that's dark.
It's
well, Frankie Goes to Hollywood also is one of my favorite new wave groups. So it's just, that movie is just so fucking amazing.
It is, and it just came out on 4K, and for years I was looking for there was a De Palma cut of their music video with more of the Indian and stuff, and I found it. Now it's on the 4K, the full video.
God. Gotta see it.
Yeah, you gotta see it. All right, well, this has been wonderful, Justin.
Amazing.
Cheers. Talk to you again soon.
Yeah, man.